Hey everyone, welcome. It's Thursday night, and the feeling's right, and we are here to podcast tonight.
You sure are.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the NLG show, and do not adjust your set. We have a great special guest with us tonight. He is alumni NLG, one of the early co-hosts, Pre-Peter.
Pre-Peter.
And
he's a dinosaur, so that's like...
It doesn't sound real good. But...
right.
Oh, we'll go with it.
All right, we'll go with it. So it shows you how long it's been since we've seen his face on the NLG show. It's Brother John, Techno Fabulous himself. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, Mike, Peter, and Chris? It's nice to be on here tonight. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely glad to have you on.
Yeah.
First time. Yeah.
Taking the place of Chris tonight will be a blue and white S, as he apparently is roaming around the house. There's kids everywhere. It's pandemonium, so Chris is not on video tonight.
Yeah. Just before this, I just finished playing some. Dang it! I don't know. Uno. We just had a fierce Uno game.
Oh.
For a second there, I didn't think I was going to finish. So
nothing worse than the draw 4 card.
Yes,
right.
That's what kept going, and then nobody had the color red for a while. So
that just sucks. And that's when you have to put cards back in and reshuffle and all kinds of shit. Yeah.
And I tell you what, that's how I found out my 6-year-old is very competitive because she gets mad playing Uno. So
she
scared me.
Uno.
Is she also bending the rules a little bit?
Well, they try to cheat on me. Yeah, they try to cheat whenever I'm winning. So
oh my
gang
goodness.
up on me. So, all good.
He just called his kids cheaters. Wow.
Yeah.
Lord. So, it's John. It's good to have you in tonight, man. It's been way too long. Way too long.
Oh yeah, it has.
I mean, you go back. Goodness gracious.
Pre-Peter.
Yes. That's going to be a thing now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
No, we're talking 4 years ago. So
it's been a long time.
It really has. When we so you and Frankie, honestly, were two guys that kind of came to my rescue when I was going through a giant shuffle of people, and I had you for at least 5 episodes. So we talked. If you go back and you do a search for his name, podcast number 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and I got a playthrough from you of Fat Princess Adventures.
Oh, that's right. Actually, I really miss being on the show. I think at that time I was so busy gaming. I had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life, health issues,
Yep, I remember.
And just trying to balance everything. But when you asked me if I wanted to come on tonight, I was like, hell yeah. I mean, so a lot of things are out of the way now, and it's good to be on here to talk about games.
It is.
So this is awesome.
I was lucky to have you for the time that I was able to, I remember because you were at you weren't working. It was, it was kind of tough for you. And then I remember everything which is what I'm so happy about, is like everything kind of turned around for you at once. And then you got too busy for me and had to roll out. But you know what? Right. I mean, today, like, I see you and your family and out shoveling snow and having a good old time.
Oh, yeah.
And gaming your rear end off. And man, I'm so happy to see you in such a great place in life, man. I really am.
Well, what you've done with the show is awesome. I mean, everything from your intro to having Peter and Chris on and Thomas and all the things you've done with it. I mean, it's came a long way. And just looking back from when I was on till now, it's like an awesome, awesome thing that you've done.
Well,
so
thank you. And
I
Peter's
tip my hat to you.
Peter's my rock, man. We're over 3 years now, and he if he misses a show, it is because he is just literally not capable. So I mean, it is it's awesome. He's even hit us up from Great Wolf Lodge when there's like no internet, and he's like, "I'm getting on anyway." So it's great. And Chris has been such a great addition because he brings such a positive energy to not only the show, but he's got WDFC, which I don't know if you saw, Chris, but Daz said get your shit together because 2020 needs to be the year WDFC. So,
well, we might end up doing one here before the year ends. So
that'd be awesome.
I've been off since last Friday, and I don't go back to work until next Thursday. So I think we could probably squeeze one in before maybe Saturday.
Hey, that would be great.
Yeah,
that'd be great. So, WDFC was a great addition to us, and you guys. You take things in a little bit different direction as far as how you guys you do the show, and it's such a great compliment. So I definitely am hoping for more WDFC next year.
Oh, of course, but I mean, but even before that, like I was in the chat, being part of the family NLG before even WDFC, and WDFC has really came about because NLG, with Super Cooper in chat. And Witty and Daz. So before all that even started, I was just part of the family in the chat and always enjoyed, the NOG show going back. And in fact, John, I can't even remember. Honestly, I can't even remember when you were on. So maybe
I don't think I was watching the show.
I know. I must have started listening after you.
It's been a long time.
It has been.
Because I know I've been been part of NOG for at least three years. So
he came on November 3rd, 2015. That was his first show. That's how far back it's been. It's literally been 4 years.
Well, and to be honest with you, even though I've been gaming for years, I mean, it's been like 38, 39 years I've been gaming. When I got on Mike's show, I had never been on a podcast before. When he asked me to come on, I mean, I was nervous as hell. I didn't know anything about a podcast. I had listened to a couple times. So for me, it was kind of a real challenge when you're not used to that. I've always been playing with myself or playing, games with,
Games.
Here we go.
Pre-Peter.
But I've always been used to playing games for my own enjoyment or playing with my family. And so all this streaming stuff that came about and the podcasting, this was kind of new for me. So when Mike asked me on, that was like, I was totally green and excited at the same time, but it kind of opened my eyes and let me know how awesome gaming could be and what you could do. So
we had a lot of fun, man.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
We have a lot of fun now, but we had a lot of fun. I mean, I remember we weren't on camera. We were using avatars. There was no. I didn't have a. It was still Hangouts. I didn't even have an intro then.
You just had the fedora, didn't you? The fedora on your avatar?
All I had, yeah, which I still have. It's still my avatar, but that was all that I had was just that. And we talked about, I think we talked about the Mitomo, the Golden Joystick Awards, Halo 5 had come out. So Halo 5 came out. I don't know if it was that one or the next episode in which I broke out the calculator.
Oh, I will never forget. The calculator is like the ultimate. That is like the Mullis tally, official tally. That's.
I don't even know. We talked because we were talking about sales at the time of how well Halo 5 did, and Yeah, I was breaking out the calculator, the Windows calculator.
Yeah. If it had printed off receipts, that would have been better, you know.
Oh my goodness. No, but this is like so nice, and this is gaming brethren right here, the four of us. This is awesome. And unfortunately, I don't know where Thomas is. He comes on when he can. He's got a very busy job, and he does he does the best he can to come on, when possible. So, if he pops on later, I'll jump him in. If not, we're good here.
I was actually going to surprise him with something. He had an impersonator. There was like someone dressing up like the bra guy and had the hat and the glasses. I had that prepared tonight to put on, but he's not here. So.
Oh. That's funny. All right, we'll have to catch him. We'll have to catch him again. So if you're listening, Thomas.
Brah.
Brah. So, so these guys don't know it, but in honor of you being here, it's like the Eddie Murphy SNL episode, where we do all of our favorite skits. So we have to introduce them to the Techno Fabulous, the John Place product of the week.
Oh yeah.
The world looks mighty good to me, 'cause Tootsie Rolls are all I see. Whatever it is, I think I see becomes a Tootsie Roll to me.
Yes.
Tootsie Roll, how I want your
chocolatey chew.
Tootsie Roll, I think I'm in
love with you.
Whatever it is, I think I see becomes a Tootsie Roll to me.
This week's product is
Tootsie Roll for that chocolatey chew.
Get it now at your local grocery store.
Awesome.
People tuning in going, what the hell's going on? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. More distracted. All right, weirdos. Oh my goodness. One week we did like a blender. One week we did the Ginsu knives. It was great.
Well, it's fun because, that's, you guys all know, that's what gaming's about too. It's not just, a lot of times we talk about sales, what we think's going to happen. You hear rumors on things, speculation, but I mean, we all game for the one main reason, and that's to have fun. And sometimes being a little lighthearted, I think that brings everybody together. So there's nothing wrong with a little laughter.
No, not at all.
Exactly.
Not at all.
And speaking of,
go ahead.
Well, quick, I was going to say, speaking of, I didn't know y'all were doing these little, fun sponsorship stuff. So that reminds me of Multiverse, because they've been doing stuff like that. Just some funny, corny, what's his name? Sam would do a little sponsorship announcement.
Right.
But yeah, that's funny. Like you said, it's lighthearted, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's all part of gaming.
It really is, and it's what, and so the little things we used to do like that, the breaking out the calculator and laughing about it, and doing these little product placements and stuff, and I mean it made it enjoyable, and I think that I think the things that we do now are awesome in how we come about and talk. I've enjoyed doing some of the little things that we do, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to do those things. I love doing the live reaction shows, man. Those are my favorites. When we get to the press conferences and stuff, and we've had some great surprises that we've been able to like live react to and things like that. And those are the things that just make you it reminds you how to have fun,
Oh yeah.
So, and speaking of fun, so tonight, this is the last NLG show of the decade. Can you believe it? The last NLG show of the decade. And what I wanted to do was, everybody's two things. They're doing Game of the Year and Game of the Decade. I kind of wanted to talk about what were our top games, our top 10 games that we played this entire decade. And so even if you go back to like 2010, 2011, 2012, before the new consoles came out, there are games that were hot at the end of the last gen. But I figured that we would probably be within, the 2013 to now gen, the Xbox One, the PS4, the Switch. If you had a Wii U,
Yeah.
And while we're talking about those games tonight, you guys in the chat, definitely want you guys to list some of, if you want to do a top 10, that's great. If not, just list some of the games that you guys over the course of the last 10 years have been your the top favorite games that you have, things that defined gaming for you, if need be. The Roaring 20s, Pseudopods.
Jeez.
Yeah. So it's funny because I said you could do a separate list if you want, or you could combine them. I think, John, you did separate lists, right?
What I did is I just went back this last gen and I made a top 10 list for Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, my favorite games. And they just so happened to be, I picked all the console exclusives basically for each company, but I picked my favorite titles from each company, so that's kind of what I did.
Okay. And Peter, you and Chris did a combined list, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so did I, because when it came down to it, first off, I don't have a Switch, so that's out. But when I started to think about my top 10 games, honestly, I don't know that I had top 10 games of each system. So when I was done, I had about 10 or 12 games that were combined with everything. And then we do have, another alumni is Frankie. Frankie did give us a top 10 list. I'll read off his list sometime during the night, so we can get his top 10 list as well. So, but before we get into that, and of course want to say hi to the folks in chat board. I saw a Relevant Native. We got, of course, Coop. And I'm sure some folks will be popping in as the night goes on. If I missed anybody, and let me scroll up here. Too Much Food was in like really early. I don't know if he's back or not. But
maybe he got hungry again.
Yeah. He'll be back after dinner.
He'll be back.
So, but Peter, how you doing, man?
Good.
Yeah? What you been up to this week?
I did a little bit of gaming on PC, Xbox, also some PlayStation. Finally started Death Stranding.
Oh,
it's a interesting game. It's has some neat stuff, but once you encountered, you stumbled around for a few times. In the beginning, it's like, oh, that's a neat concept. It gets a little old. It gets old quick. The story is intriguing. Just the mechanism of the whole delivering packages is like, I stuck around my first, the first knot. I forgot what it's called, not central knot or whatever it's called, and it's like I kept on picking up packages and delivering it back and stuff. It's like at some point I thought, well, I probably should encounter all the other knots that are available and start progressing through the story. But it doesn't grab me as much as all the other PlayStation games that I played, like the Horizon Zero Dawn, where I couldn't stop playing. Spider-Man, I had it was a good game, but I could kind of burned out with the side missions. And then once Mike started playing it, it's like, okay, I wanted to stop playing it again. And at that point, it's like I was having fun again, and I couldn't stop playing either. And then the God of War was awesome too. Yeah, I couldn't stop playing that either. So yeah. But Death Stranding is my least favorite. Exclusive on the PlayStation.
Top 10?
Didn't make the
far.
top 10.
So it didn't make my top 10. No.
Okay.
First of all, I haven't finished it yet. I'm still very early on in the game. Anything can happen. I will definitely finish playing it, but it's there's so many other games that I felt like playing, like on PC, Anno 1800, the city building, Industrial Revolution kind of period. It's that's just cool, especially now because there's like a Christmas theme, and I was like boating around, and all of a sudden I saw like Santa Claus in his sleigh and reindeer like across the sky. That was pretty awesome.
That is odd. That's cool.
That is cool.
Oh. And how you doing, Chris?
Well, finally I'm back on. I missed the last 2 shows.
You did, but you had a legitimate reason for the last one. We're very sorry.
Thank you. Our family, we got a great family. We've been together and just kept each other going. And just, we're here for my wife. But I have a wonderful family, so it's what keeps us going strong.
And I can understand.
Yeah, I mean, and I lost my father a few years back too. It's what part of life sucks getting old, and you lose family members throughout, going throughout. But
yeah,
well, we're going, we're moving forward. So I do appreciate it.
Well, yep, absolutely, and whatever timing needed, of course. I mean, it's it's a video game podcast. It's not life and death.
Yeah,
real life and family always comes first.
Yes, so, that's always been my thing. Family first, and then I game when I can. So, but I definitely love you guys. You guys are my family also, and appreciate everything. And a big shout out to Coop. Coop sent me a gift, a code for the Xbox. So
nice.
He's awesome. It was a big surprise with my wife. We were out eating, and I just told her, "Man, nice. My brother Coop." So
Santa Coop.
Santa Coop. Even though he drives a slow Camaro, that's right. Slow Camaro. But I have, I worked like, before this, I've been off since last Friday, but before that, I worked like three weeks pretty much straight, a lot of overtime. And so I didn't get a lot of game in it, but the 2 main games I've been playing is Outer Worlds, and then when Jedi Fallen came out, I jumped on that, and I'm pretty much sure, I think I did all the big bosses, well, up to the, I don't know if y'all played it, but the bat, there's a bat on Dathomar or whatever. I don't know if you played it, John. But
no.
Jedi Fallen? No. So I think I'm a little over halfway done. So those are my 2 main games I'm going to try to get done before I go back to work. And then after
I've actually got the game, Chris. I just haven't had time to play it yet.
Yeah, trust me, I know. I mean, it's and on Netflix, I just finished watching the series The Witcher, and I had never played the Witcher games, so I'm like, okay, now that I have a good understanding of the Witcher world, and I like what I watched, I said, okay, I'm going to go play Witcher 3. I think somebody told me play Witcher 2 first and then go play Witcher 3, but I don't know. I think I'll just go Witcher 3. I'm not sure. And
well, I can help you out there. I played Witcher 2, Chris, on the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And I started with that. I got 100% of the achievements. And then later on the Xbox One, I played Witcher 3. And both of them are phenomenal games.
Okay.
You don't have to play. You can play either one you want to. You don't have to play 2 first. But to kind of get you caught up with the lore and kind of get an understanding of some of the characters, you might want to dabble around with 2 a little bit.
2 first, okay. I might do that because I think that's going to be my focus before Cyberpunk comes out. I mean, there's a couple games I want to play before that comes out, but as far as a major game, I know Witcher takes a lot of your time.
Oh yeah.
So I want to focus on that after I get done with the Outer Worlds and Jedi Fallen. But other than that, I mean, for Christmas, my little one, I got her Just Dance 2020. So we were playing that today, and
What system did you get there?
On the Switch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a little bit
I have
more
it
fun
for the Xbox, and then I can still use Kinect.
Yeah. And but while she was playing, I mean, she had the Joy-Cons. I mean, the movement was spot on. Like, you didn't see no lag or anything.
Oh wow.
It looks like a fun game. So it was just fun watching her. And then the oldest one, we downloaded the Goose Untitled game.
Oh yeah,
Untitled Goose Game or whatever.
Untitled Goose Game.
Yeah.
So me and my oldest, we did that together. We went through it, and we were helping each other out, and we finished that. So I need to go back and 100% it, because that's kind of curious to see how I can do that. So that was a fun game. So yeah, I mean, just have a fun game, and especially with my family.
Good.
It's it's what it's all about. So
it is. No, and John, what have you actually been? I mean, what have you been playing recently? I mean,
oh God!
You don't have to tell me what you've been playing in the last 4 years, but
no, just man, I tell you, the last couple of years I've been really working a lot, and things have gone. And my wife Shammer and I, we moved into our new home about 7 months ago.
Beautiful home.
So we've had a lot of things going on, but I've been gaming on the Switch. I've been gaming on the PlayStation. I've been all over the place. Like one game that I played was Bard's Tale 4. And
you like that one, right?
I thoroughly enjoy it. Although I played the first 3 Bard's Tales, and this was back when I played those. That was back in the Commodore 64, Commodore 128 era. So I was kind of used to using the directional keys and going through the mazes, and you didn't have a mini map. So each time you took a step forward or you moved to the left or right, you would have to take out your graph paper and you would have to map out the dungeon.
Yeah.
You didn't have like this mini map and auto rotation and all this, and all of a sudden a monster would appear, and then 20 hit points is gone and you're trying to attack or defend or play some music, with your bard. But this game was it had some of the old Bard's Tale games, but then they kind of gave it like a facelift, and I don't know, it got some mixed reactions, I guess, on the game. I personally liked it. I love RPGs. I love dungeon crawlers, so it was kind of right up my alley. I've got one more achievement to get the platinum. The only problem is it's so tough. It may be the first one I give up on. Because you have a party of, I think, 4 members that you can fight at a time. And then you've got 2 or 3 in the kitty that you can use if you get into trouble. But the last trophy requires you to beat the end boss, get through the last few levels with only 2 characters, I believe. So it's kind of a challenge. I'm sure I could probably go online and get some tips on it, but I just haven't went on any further since then.
Gotcha. I tried to.
Is this the one that was in Game Pass? I'm sorry.
Excuse me, Chris?
The Bard's Tale 4, is this the one in Game Pass?
I think Bard's Tale 4 is in Game Pass, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it wasn't. Am I mistaken, Mike?
No. Let me look real quick. I think that it is, and I think that, and so is the original trilogy. And
you're talking about the first one, like going through, like how, like you said, you had no maps, and you took it forward, and it kind of reminds me of Shadowgate that came on NES. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, except a little bit of a bigger game than Shadowgate. Like, I know what you're talking about, but it was a little bigger.
I think it's got new features, Mike and Chris. I think there's some new features that they put in the game to kind of bring it up to date. But I mean, if I were to replay the original trilogy, I know as crazy as this sounds, I would almost want to play it the way I played it, 20 years ago.
So, okay, so all 4 of them are in Game Pass, and there's an actual mode. So I did fire up the trilogy, and for whatever reason, and maybe I might go back again. I don't know that aged as well as I thought it would. But there is a mode that you could turn on that actually plays it like the original. Takes away takes away the mini map, takes away all the enhancements they made to kind of remaster the trilogy. You can turn all that off.
Yes.
So if you so John, do you have Game Pass, John?
Actually, I don't.
Yeah, I didn't think you did.
I know everybody's probably. The funny thing is, my Xbox Live membership is paid up for another 2 years. And this is something maybe we can talk about later. Something I have a thing with subscriptions in general. Like, I don't mind paying for the Xbox Live, the PlayStation Network. It's like I don't have PlayStation Now either. Like, I don't mind paying for the subscriptions, but you know how it is, like in your neighborhood, somebody came to the door the other day and they've got a neighborhood service that comes around and sprays for bugs, and that's like $10, $15 there. And then, you got Amazon, Netflix, and all these services. Yeah. And all of a sudden it kind of builds up. So I'm not really a subscription guy. I don't like, to me, I'm kind of old school, but I don't mind going out and buying the games. Like, I don't mind paying. People are probably like, "Oh, techno, you're stupid." But I'm just kind of old fashioned. I would just rather pay for things up front and just own it. Whether it be on Xbox. And I'm weird like that. Now, some people probably really like the and love it, and it's probably a great thing. It's something that I just haven't done yet. No, really rhyme or reason why.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all. And you're not the only one. There are a lot of people who they want to buy the game and own own it in the sense that they think they own it, but you know what I mean. They want to right. They want to be able to hug the case, and I get that. There's nothing wrong with that. I know from having 3 young kids in the house and no money. Game Pass is like my rock.
And you hit the nail on the head, Michael. I think these subscription things come down to maybe what type of gamer you are, age. There's a lot of things that go into play with that. Yeah. Some people that have a lot of kids or large families, that might be something more beneficial, or maybe someone that's more of a casual gamer, even that's wanting to try out all kinds of different things, or they're just kind of getting started. So there's a lot of benefits.
Yeah.
Just for me, I've been. It's funny. It just seems like every month, you got these bills for your house and this and that and all these subscription things, Disney Plus and all this. It seems to be just one more bill, kind of. So I kind of stay away from it.
I agree, but I do recommend, as far as you could.
But I might get it anyway.
Yeah, you could. But since you got a 2-year paid up, you could probably upgrade over to Ultimate, and so you'll be paying for Live and Game Pass, anyways, on one subscription. So
you're right.
That might be something to look at too. Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing that I like about Game Pass is like, I discovered some great games on there that I would have never tried without it. Like Remnant from the Ashes. It's in my top 10.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been seeing you and then
and Crazy One. We've been playing that. It's like it's phenomenal. I mean, it's if it would be a true AAA, it would have maybe a little bit more polished. It would be even better. But it's like the gameplay is fantastic.
I gotta try that.
Seeing them go back and forth talking about that, it's like I need to jump on that.
Yeah,
do some co-op with y'all.
It's kind of like a
Dark Souls co-op, right?
3-player, I believe.
3-player.
Yeah, just 3-player.
The other. Oh, sorry, Mike.
No. Well, I was gonna say the on the other side of that too. I found, I was like, hey, you know what? I keep hearing about After Party. Let me give that a try. And I kind of powered my way through that game, but I'm kind of glad I didn't pay for it full price, because it didn't. I played it and I beat it, but it really didn't grab me the way that I had hoped. So, being that it's part of Game Pass, it cost me the cost of the subscription and nothing more. Right. So there is some of that, where I'm glad I probably would not have paid full price for it, and I probably would never have tried it. And if I did, I would have gotten stuck with a game I really wasn't thrilled about.
Do you feel like the dialogue was kind of out of, for younger?
Oh, the dialogue was totally hipster, and some of it was
like
funny.
Oxen Free.
Yeah, some of it was pretty funny. I didn't have a problem with the dialogue. I had a problem with the fact that it was basically it was a choose your own adventure book without the adventure. It was there was there's no way. First off, there was no way to lose. You know what it was like? It was like Tacoma. That's what it reminds me of now that I think about it. You make your way through the game. There's absolutely nothing you could do wrong. The drinking part of the game, which is kind of a big piece of After Party, really didn't do anything one way or another. You could get through the whole game without drinking a drop of alcohol and still beating the game. You can't die. You just run around and talk to people, and you listen to their hipster snarky comments, and that's it. And then the game is over in like 3 hours. And the only reason it took me a couple days is because I'd play it for an hour, then go do something else, come back to it, do something else, come back to it. But it was very short on substance, and it was just more like playing through a little sitcom.
Well, see, like games like that. Games like that, real quick. I like to watch my oldest. My oldest is 19, so I'm like, here, you play it, and I'll watch you. So.
Yeah, the other game, Mike, that I've been playing is this one right here, if you guys can see. Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening.
I never got to play it a long time ago, the original one. So I've been playing it, and actually, it's really good. I've got that, and I haven't started Luigi's Mansion 3 yet. I've also got that one. But
I want to get that one too. Yeah.
I've been kind of bouncing around, guys. I've been so busy working, but I kind of play like a grandma because I'm kind of a completionist, so I can't move on from one game until I at least get 85, 90% of the trophies or achievements or whatever. And I really wish Nintendo, though, one thing that I wish they had some kind of like medals or something that you won, like Bowser coins or something that just showed your progress in the games. I think that's something they really need to look at in the future.
Coins.
Yeah, exactly.
I know people have been bringing that up. Like, why don't they give people coins? The Mario, coins that you collect, something like that. I don't want to get it, but maybe that's next year. Who knows? They've always been kind of behind when it comes to the online stuff. So
right.
Jago, what's up, brother? Jago's in the house. My Sega brother. So, it was interesting too, and I know, and again, nothing wrong with this. A lot of people did this. You kind of jumped systems this gen. I mean, I know you have an Xbox One, and you really concentrated on PlayStation this generation.
Well, the funny thing is, and this is the honest. I love all. I have my Xbox 360. I have my original Xbox One Day One edition. I have my Xbox One Slim. For what really happened, and you know this, Michael, for about 6 or 7 years, I was really wanting a baseball game. Yep. And finally, for the longest time, I actually hated PlayStation. And I'll tell you,
I know
this goes back to the days of Sega, and with the Saturn debacle, when the Saturn came out and they were trying to use the two chipset trying to communicate with each other, and the original PlayStation just had one. It was easy to program for, and the Saturn kind of fell by the wayside, although it had some great games. And then the Dreamcast, the life expectancy ended shortly. Well, I kind of, even though a lot of that was Sega's own decisions, but because Sony was so profitable at the time, it's like one of those things. I was younger at the time, and it's like you kind of hate the guy that's always winning. So I ended up, and I told my wife, I mean, even with my kids, I said, "Oh, I hate PlayStation. I don't even like the commercial PlayStation." I didn't. I swear I didn't. And So when the original Xbox came along, I got that and I played Halo and Project Gotham Racing and everything. The only thing that I didn't like about it was the big bulky controller, the Duke. But the console was awesome at the time because you had the hard drive. So I got my music CDs. I put Aerosmith, Def Leppard, Dawkins, even Winger, and I stored them on the hard drive so I could sit back and play my racing games and listen to my own music. And, that was great. But this last generation, I just was really wanting a baseball game. And we had the 2K baseball series, but that wasn't there. So one night I just went out and I got a PlayStation. I got MLB The Show, and I started playing that, and it just took off from there. And I thought, well, all these other games that I hated for no reason, I need to go back and play those. So I played all the Uncharted games. I played God of War 3 Remastered. I started playing it, and I thought, man, I'm a big dummy. I've been hating on this company for no reason, and I've been missing out. The only problem I ran into lately is I wanted to kind of build up my trophies and everything on the PlayStation Network. Well, I kind of haven't been on Xbox in 2 or 3 years, to be honest with you. I still pay for my Live. I still like the brand. I still like the company. But I've added the Switch, and with working, it's really hard to get around to all the systems. So it's just kind of something that it wasn't like a decision that I made on purpose. It's just kind of something that I kind of fell into. And but now I feel more like a well-rounded gamer. I've got to play the Yakuza games, some really great games, and maybe this generation, I'm planning on buying them all again. So when the next Xbox and PS5 come out, I'm going to get those day one. I'm not going to wait around. I'm going right out and buying them. And even the Switch, if they come out, the new system, I'll get that one too.
There you go.
I'll be over here with I'll be over here with the Intellivision Amico.
It's kind of too bad that everyone launches at the same time as, Xbox and PlayStation. It's just like a lot of, all of a sudden, a huge strain on your resources.
Well, it's like Keanu Reeves, because in 2021, the new Matrix movie and the new whatchamacallit, John Wick, they're launching on the same day. It's going to be Wick versus Neo.
I know.
Sound like a 2-movie night.
Right? So
you see him back to back, and you get all confused.
I tell you, man, he's breathtaking.
But yeah, you guys know it's hard. And Peter, Mike, you guys know it's and they come out with so many. There's so many good games out right now. Some people said, well, this year has not really been like, it's been like a low point as far as games for the generation. And I would have to disagree. There are a lot of games. It's we kind of live in an age where a game comes out and people rush through it or feel like they need to beat it in like 4 or 5 days. So,
well, you know why? Look at Netflix. They come out with a new, The Witcher. You can binge watch the whole thing. So that's what people do nowadays. Instead of enjoying, spreading, taking their time. And
it's like Peter's Ghost Recon. I know I listened in a couple episodes. He was talking about how much he liked that game, and he just got caught up with in it for hours. Sometimes you just can't rifle off the game. Sometimes you get stuck playing a game for a couple months.
Yeah.
For normal people.
Right. Well, it used to be that you got 1 or 2 games a year from these companies, and now they're trying to, Microsoft thinks they want to put out a game every 2 or 3 months. I'm like, well, slow down, champ, because how in the world are we going to play them all unless they're basically, smaller, more compact titles for people who have the attention span of a small woodland animal.
Well, once again, this is great about the game.
What animal would that be?
You can play them, and if you don't like them right away, you shelve them for a little bit and move on to the next.
Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2.
I think they're going to do
like $60.
And then you've got these mini systems. For Christmas, I just now got the Sega Mini Genesis.
Oh yeah.
The one that's actually made by Sega, not the bigger one, but the smaller one.
Yeah.
So I've got then you've got all these mini systems. So then you're compelled to plug them in and go through those. So you've got little distractions all along the way,
Well, you talk about the Saturn. I mean, I just got a HDMI cable for my Saturn. So,
Nice.
I've been going back and rolling through Shinobi Legends or Shinobi Legions. And of course we had, I don't know if you saw it, we had Ed Annunziata on, who was the creator of Echo of the Dolphin and Mr. Bones. So I've been going back and playing Mr. Bones.
What about Nights into Dreams?
I have Nights into Dreams, and I
love that game.
And I actually traded. I had the Christmas Nights into Dreams. I traded that to David Jaffe for a. Oh, I still got his picture on there where you should be. Sorry. I traded him a copy of Christmas Nights into Dreams for him signing my Mickey Mania manual.
Oh wow!
So, but yeah, I've been going back and playing that. Of course, I'd love to go back and play on my Dreamcast. With the backward compatibility, I've gone back to playing. I remember when the game called Breakdown on the Xbox by Namco became backward compat. I ended up streaming that and playing that. There were times the game was so hard. There were streams. Coop will tell you, because Coop hung out with me the whole time. It'd be like 8-hour streams of me trying to beat this boss, and it'd be like 4 a.m. I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it, damn it! and finally, falling asleep on the. You hear, hey, what's that? Jago, Breakdown was one of the greatest Xbox games of that time period. I mean, if anybody still can find a copy of it, and they're not that rare. It's not a rare game. Get Breakdown, and it's backward compat on the Xbox One, but if you have an OG Xbox, you can play it in widescreen. The game was so unbelievable. Yeah. Awesome. Project Jeff said we don't talk about the AT games mini systems here on this show. No, we do not. So, and welcome in Dirty J at J Street. What's up, boys? Here we go. So
yes,
we're getting busy. They come in late. That's that's why I don't
think that we went on a full vacation, like we're not doing the podcast this week.
Right.
Christmas was yesterday. Yeah, we're good.
That's right, man. I still love the fact that we just mentioned having John on last week, and he's in the chat room going, hell yeah! And so I DM'd him. They went out, bought a microphone, and sent me a video. Is my new microphone, Mike? When are we doing this? So
I can't thank you guys enough, man.
Oh, you kidding?
I was really excited because I love talking about video games, and I love joking around with my friends. And like I said, this means a lot to me. No kidding. I mean, it's not about popularity or getting my name. It's just chatting with people that I care about. You, Peter, Chris, and talking about games, man. It's like awesome, Mm-hmm. So
yeah, and it's just cool being live with you because, I've seen you in chats for many times in the past and on Twitter. So yeah, definitely awesome having you here live with us for the first time. So
right.
Most definitely.
And real quick,
yeah,
I like the background too.
Oh yeah,
John, I like his background.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
it's got a little Mario action up on the top.
Oh, they're looking, trying to look to see what all you got there. Yeah.
Oh, I got a lot of. I don't know if you can see it now. I'd probably have to turn my lights off. I had a special Christmas suit coat I was going to put on with LED blinking lights, but
you should have. So,
but yeah.
Like I said, it's really funny because and it's ironic that you talked about finding PlayStation to do a baseball game because now Sony Santa Monica is going to put that baseball game out on the Xbox in 2 years.
Well, you know what? I'm very happy about that. Now, some people, I understand the situation they were in. From my understanding, from what I heard on it, they were in jeopardy of possibly losing that license for that game.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in order to keep it, for whatever reason, they needed to go multi-plat, which, to be honest with you, that's going to bring in more money for the baseball game.
Yep.
That's going to let the Sony studios that make that game, that's going to give them more money to maybe make even better games or improvements. And it's going to give Xbox players a chance to play the baseball game. So for me, there's a lot of talk out there like, oh my God, it's the end of PlayStation. They lost an exclusive. No, they're still making the game. They were in a situation. It's what do you lose the baseball game just because of your pride? Or do you share it with other people? Xbox, get it out there to other people and keep the game. And it's a win-win situation. And I could discuss this with
we're in a different we're in this different age now, when I read an article, and I don't usually go to GameSpot because typically they're garbagey, but they had a really good article on Phil Spencer, and they talked about one of his big acquisitions when he first came aboard being Mojang and buying Minecraft for $2 billion. And according to the article, Sony got on the phone with him almost immediately and said, hey, so are you going to pull Minecraft from PlayStation? And his response was, why would I do that? What do I gain by that? Now,
he even said that people like playing it on PlayStation 2.
Exactly. Now, future games, of course, we know Minecraft Dungeons is going to be Xbox and PC, and that's their right. That's why they, but these games, like all the games that they of the companies that they bought recently, in no time did they mandate that, well, now that the game's coming out, you can't have it. So when they bought Compulsion, We Happy Few still came out on the PlayStation. When they bought Obsidian, Outer Worlds still came out on the PlayStation. When they bought In Exile, Wasteland 3 is still coming out on the PlayStation. And of course, between that and all that's going on with crossplay, it's not that uncommon. It's not out of the realm. It's different because it's Sony doing it. I will say that. I mean, you wouldn't have expected them to do that. They would have said, well, I mean, I could have seen them give up the licensing for that if they knew they were still going to get a baseball game from a third party. So for them to do that's pretty big, but it's not uncommon because it's been happening for the last four years now, really, or maybe 3 years since Minecraft.
Well, and if you look at it too, Mike, over the last several years, MLB The Show is one of Sony's top-selling games, year in, year out. Now, there's some people out there, they're like, oh, I don't like baseball. It's boring. I'd rather do this. I'd rather do that.
I wonder who that is, Jago.
Yet year in, year out, that game sells, and it's one of the top-selling games. And now that it's going to be branching out, Xbox players are going to be able to get to play it in a couple years. So for me, I played baseball in college, and so I guess I'm kind of partial to it, and maybe I'm not. But I love the game of baseball. It's like America's greatest pastime here. It's a sport that I grew up playing Little League and went on playing in college. So this baseball game is probably the best baseball game that you can get out there to simulate the sport. So, I mean, like I said, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yep. And that franchise has been that good for way longer than people think. I mean, MLB The Show. Since the 90s with 989 Studios. I mean, back on the original PlayStation, when it was going up against, Sega and World Series baseball and those kind of things, there were some great baseball games out there.
Oh, yeah.
Systems. All-Star Baseball, World Series, MLB The Show. 2K for a while had a...
Do you guys remember Hardball?
Of course.
That was on I had that on the Commodore 64.
I had that on the Atari, and I had it on the remember what was it? Star League Baseball.
Yes.
There was that. That was an older and then I had Hardball for the Genesis when it was Accolade. back in the day, and then for the PC, I had Earl Weaver Baseball for the PC, which was crazy good. And then, like I said, Acclaim made a great series called All Star Baseball, and even though it had Derek Jeter on the cover, it was a great series. So still will always pour one out for my friends at Acclaim.
Do you remember the old Atari 2600 baseball?
Oh,
remember, it was just like you had like one big pixel for first base.
Yes.
And your little guy, you'd hit the ball and go bloop, 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 and you'd run around the bases real.
So I was an Intellivision guy. So
right.
Yeah, I didn't have the Atari baseball. I had the Intellivision baseball. George Plimpton sold me on the Intellivision. So
good system.
So I wasn't lying. I am getting an Amico next year. I am in. I've seen some footage of some games that are coming out. I saw footage of they're remaking Breakout, another Atari game, and they're bringing that out. There's an Earthworm Jim coming to it that is exclusive to that system. I've seen little clips here and there in their promo videos of old Intellivision games that they're remaking, and I mean I'm in on that system so much, and not just
see what Jago said.
I know, and I don't blame him either. So I don't blame him.
Yeah, my favorite baseball game was the one that came out on NES. It's just, I thought it was made from Tecmo, but it wasn't. Not Tecmo, yeah, not Tecmo, but
well, RBI came from the NES.
Sega Saturn had a real good baseball game.
Well, the NES had one that was just called Baseball.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's how they did it.
But I think RBI was another one that, it was a fun game. Me and my brother played a lot of on that. So
the Saturn had a good baseball game. On the Genesis launch, Tommy Lasorda baseball was really good.
Tommy.
Yeah, I know. But and if you remember, Sega was the first one with the Sports Talk. Sports Talk baseball was fantastic. Blew me away when I first played that game, and you heard the announcer, and they was calling the game right. And then Midway, makers of NFL Blitz, made J Street reminded me of it. MLB, was it the big? It was. I can't remember if it was MLB the Bigs or something else, but it was it's kind of NFL Blitz meets baseball.
That was the Bigs, I think.
Yeah, I think it is. And it had the same announcer from Blitz, but then a color guy that always sounded drunk.
Bill Cosby?
Oh, wow. Woo! Okay.
Sorry.
Wow. No, it was not. Holy shit. No, so the Bigs was 2K games. Midway's was, and I still have it's over there on the shelf. If I went and looked at it, Midway's was Slugfest. MLB Slugfest, and that was just straight up. You could if you beamed the player 3 times, the pitcher caught on fire, and then the batter but the batter would come out and beat him down with a baseball bat. It was hilarious. So there were some good games. Not so good. So I think this is also this announcement. Now that I think of it, also is. MLB's kind of way to really slowly and quietly back out of trying to make their own game again, because they tried to hit some nostalgia with the RBI series, and it didn't really re-catch, because there were other games that were better that were trying to do the same thing. Of course, there was MLB The Show, but there were other games out there, and one of my favorites of this gen is actually Super Mega Baseball. And I still roll out Super Mega Baseball 2 and play that once in a while, because you can do a game in like 45 minutes. It was very fun. So Jago's pulling out NFL Fever. That was a great game on the Xbox. Xbox, see, this is one of the things Microsoft, and I know why they did it. And the story they tell publicly is not the story that actually happened. But I know why Peter Moore stopped making the sports games and sold their sports games franchises to 2K. But NFL Fever was honestly one of the good football games out there. It had a really unique read-lead passing system. And I still have the video I created for it where you could actually take the controller and your throwing motion, you pick the receiver first. And when you hit, like, let's say you wanted to pick the guy, your wide out, you hit X and it lit up that guy as he's running. Then you took the controller and you led him with a cursor and you used the trigger to throw. And you could actually change the guy's route and all kinds of. It was awesome. It was like such a cool thing. So, anyway,
I still think the Dreamcast football.
Oh yeah, of course.
I think it's better than the Madden games. It's still to this day.
To this day.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yes. NFL 2K2.
Yeah.
I'm a Super Tecmo guy. That's my favorite football.
Nice.
NES Super NES. So yeah. No, I mean I enjoyed playing in the Maddens throughout the years and early years, but I like my sports games to be not so simulated, so serious looking, so realistic. I always go back to the NES days, the old school sports games like Blades and the all the basketball games. What was that one where you could punch each other? That one basketball.
Oh, right. NBA Jam. Sorry.
What?
NBA
Jam?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was. Yeah.
He's on fire.
Yeah. But like that, like I used to like games like that. It didn't take itself so seriously.
Right.
And just had fun with that stuff.
A little easy to play too than nowadays. You have like two
yeah.
analog sticks that you have to move in unison in whatever directions in order to do anything serious. I mean, it's if it's almost like a full-time job if you want to be good in those games.
Arch Rivals, the precursor to the pre-Peter of to NBA Jam.
Right.
So, and then EA tried to do a couple of those games too. They had NBA Street, NFL Street, and they had a soccer version too, FIFA Street, and those are pretty decent. But they didn't last. They didn't last very long. So, man, memory lanes. Good grief.
Wait, I thought we were only doing a decade of our top 10.
I know.
Like decades of our top 10.
Decades. Well, what a time to be alive as a gamer, man, because and thank goodness for the retro community and the retro movement, because a lot of people are going back to these old games in some ways because of the new games. A lot of people are going back to the days when you bought a disc and the disc either worked, the game was good, or it didn't work and the game sucked. And you didn't have you didn't have a 45 gig patch day one that you downloaded, or you didn't have Tony Hawk. You have Tony Hawk Pro Skater 6, where the game was totally unpatched at launch, and sometimes just going back and playing games that have simple mechanics,
Yes.
The NES had 2 buttons. The Dreamcast didn't have 2 sticks.
No.
And that's okay. It's okay. So this is my dirty pleasures to go back and play those things and finding.
Look at that Nintendo 64 controller, Mike. It had that Z trigger on the bottom.
Oh God, yes.
It looked like a trident upside down.
Yes. And so when somebody beats you in wave race, you can turn it around and stab them with it. Double dribble. Good one. Good one, Chris. Double
very
dribble.
good.
Double dribble.
That was a favorite. Yeah, I loved it.
That was a great game on the NES too. So, but just to go back and you did need 3 hands to play GoldenEye. I will remember that. You needed a third hand to play GoldenEye. But games like that also were what moved those genres forward. And even playing stuff on the old, the Commodore and the Atari and all that stuff. I mean, those are games that, come on, the Atari had one button. I had a 1-button joystick. That was it.
Do you remember Bird versus Dr. J?
Yes.
You could actually break the backboard, and it would actually, if you slammed the ball hard enough, to go.
Now you have a guy with a little broom.
Right.
Yes. The guy with the broom.
Jordan versus Bird also.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, but it was Dr. J versus Larry Bird was the first one. I remember that. I remember when I had to play that, I had to get out the little code wheel to get the right code to unlock the game. So, we talked about this. Peter and I talked about this last week. One of the games that I just finished, even though it's 4 years old too, is King's Quest, the new King's Quest from the Odd Gentleman. But I grew up on those games. I grew up with King Graham. I grew up with, we went back as far as Mission Asteroid, which if you had a Commodore 64, you should remember. And the Dark Crystal and those old Sierra games. So, we're going to go over our top 10s here real quick, but in a minute. But there's something to be said about why retro has become so popular, which of course sucks because it drives the pricing up. But, yes, thank you, Encyclopedia Jeff, Pro Skater 5. Project Jeff is our built-in, and he's our chat room encyclopedia. If we need to know something, he's got the information.
For as long as I've known little Project Jeff on Twitter, he's on it, man. I mean, he's like bam, bam, bam.
Oh, I remember Showtime.
And I wanted to give a quick shout out to Crazy One because on Twitter he showed the game. I guess I don't know if he was playing on PC, but remember the drag racing game on the Atari 2600?
Drag. Which was
he
just
showed that where
drag
the top
racing.
versus bottom, where you first player versus second. Dude, me and my brother loved that game, right? Because you had to try to beat each other's times.
Yep.
I think, right? And it just brought back memories. I'm like, I love it that when some of these guys like Crazy One, they bring back some of these retro games. That I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that game. You can't, like us. We go back. We're here talking about decades of gaming, and until one of us brings up a name, it's like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
Right.
It's just, I love it.
Yep. And Jago says retro's popular. If it wasn't, Arcade 1-Up wouldn't be making money right now, and he's right. I mean,
that's true.
And I got a chance to like I still want to get from my 10-year-old. I still want to get him the Pac-Man one because he loves Pac-Man. But I
talking about Pac-Man. I got this from a very good friend of mine.
Oh yeah! My son's got that one. Yeah, awesome. He's got that one.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Have you been playing that, Peter?
I played a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I played the other day at Walmart. They actually had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one set up. Right. And I tell you what, man, those Arcade 1-Up box, they're good quality, man. They do look good. They really do. So, the board says he prefers Miss Pac-Man. I thought Miss Pac-Man was, I agree, it was so much better because you had, once you beat it, once you beat the level, you got new mazes.
Right.
So,
Did y'all remember? Did y'all have the little handheld that Pac-Man, that shaped little arcade Pac-Man game? It was shaped like Pac-Man. Y'all remember that? Had a little window.
I had a Game & Watch Pac-Man, but I didn't have that.
I did too. A Casio watch Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I remember those. Oh. But but this is again the reason is because they're so simplistic. But the arcade 1-up games, I'm still looking for. I haven't found in store the Star Wars one, and I swear I'm gonna get it, and I'm just gonna sleep on the couch for a month.
Yes, I want to get that too. Yeah, that thing's like about $400 something bucks.
Yeah, it's expensive,
Yes.
but it's got
I want that one though.
But it's got the only real licensed flight. The controller is actually licensed from. Yeah. So, I want that. So, but I'm also gonna, like I said, at some point I'm gonna get the Pac-Man one for my son. Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, so we'll bring it forward because we can sit here and talk this all night. So let's bring it forward to the 2010s and. Let's go over our top 10s of this generation, and we can talk about the games as we go through and see what's on each other's lists and see what games really stuck to us. And so, John, you are our guest, and you have the floor. So if I have a game, if I've got pictures or anything like that, or videos or anything like that, I'll try to bring them up as we're talking. But you did your homework, sir. So.
Well, what I did is my list is kind of extensive, so I'll go through them real quick, and then I'll pick my favorite game out of each one.
Okay.
My top 10 Xbox games: Forza 6, Forza Horizon 3, Halo 5 Guardians, Gears of War 4, Ori and the Blind Forest, Sunset Overdrive, Rise Son of Rome, Titanfall, Killer Instinct, and Dead Rising 3. Oh. And all those games I loved, and I played each one of those, and I love those games. That for me, when you asked me to come up with this list, it was pretty easy. I wrote them down, but there have been so many great games that I played. All those are excellent games. And I played each one, and I had a blast playing them. To pick one out of there, though, that's a tough one. I would almost have to say it would be a tie between Rise Son of Rome and Sunset Overdrive. Those two games for me, this last gen on the Xbox, were two of my most memorable. I loved the storyline in Sunset Overdrive. I thought it was comical at times, and I just had a blast playing that. I played online with some people, and just a totally awesome game. And of course, Rise Son of Rome, that for me is a pretty badass game. So
I'll tell you, the game still holds up today.
Yeah. I guess I'll move on real quick to my top 10 PlayStation 4 games. Uncharted 4, MLB The Show 2019. It's Yakuza, but I'd say Yakuza. Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. Neo, God of War, Bloodborne, Ratchet & Clank, Persona 5, Gran Turismo Sport, Until Dawn, and actually The Last of Us Remastered. So
okay.
All those games I played, and I had an absolute blast with each one of them. And if I had to pick a couple games out of that list, I've got to pick MLB The Show 2019 because I'm a huge baseball fan, and I think Bloodborne. It's really hard. Some of these lists, especially the previous Xbox list, I'm just looking at all these first 20 games, and it's really hard they're all great. I mean, if you're a gamer, all these games are just a blast. So I'll move on to my last one, and that's the Switch top 10 games. Super Mario Odyssey, Super Smash Bros., Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and this next one, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Love that game. Absolutely, I'd recommend that to anybody. Link's Awakening, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Luigi's Mansion 3, although I just played a snippet of it, but I went ahead and put that on there. Splatoon, Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, which is one of my wife's favorites, and Octopath Traveler. So those would be mine. But I think if I looked at this list, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and probably Super Mario Odyssey are probably my two favorite Switch games.
Okay.
So I sorry I was talking so fast. I had such a large list. I wanted to get through it so you guys could talk. But those were all these games are great games from all three companies. So and I got to play all of them. Luigi's Mansion 3 I've only played like a few minutes of, but from what I played, it's awesome. So
I saw a couple of screenshots you put up. Yeah, I wish I wish I had time for the Switch. I just don't, and that's the only reason I don't have it. Is I just don't have time for it.
Well, and it's real hard, Mike. What I did with the Switch, I noticed that some people, I didn't buy the Switch for like third-party games. I got it solely for the Nintendo exclusives or games that were only on that system, pretty much. So that I know some people are buying like The Witcher on it because it's portable and doing this and that, but I don't have time for that, so I kind of bought that system just for the special Nintendo games when I get a chance to play. So
yeah, I'm the same way, and I'm still very picky about Switch games. To me, it's like they're like at the bottom of the it's like the ugly stepson. It's like kind of at the bottom. It's they have enjoyable games, but it's not one of them is like that really captivated me. He's like, oh, this is fantastic, I must play it.
There's something mystical about that. Like Peter said, but there's something, I don't know, that like when the Switch came out, man, I saw the system and I thought, man, I don't want to get that. I want a traditional console, and we didn't know if it was going to have a dongle or whatever, or how it was going to play, or is it going to be a handheld that fits into a bigger system. I mean, there were all kinds of questions. And like I said, they're always so slow and they always seem to be behind as far as technology. But for some reason, though, their games, though, are just, I can't not buy them. I mean, every time I see little Mario in his red hat, and it's just, you can't resist, But I do feel like they're kind of missing the boat, too, because they got games like Wave Race and Star Fox. They need to bring some of these older games back to life and either get them on the Switch or their next console going forward.
Yeah, we're still waiting for Metroid Prime.
Yep. Well, that was what I remember when you asked us last week in the chat, John. What our wishes for the next for the coming year was.
Right.
That was my fifth wish, was that they, these companies would go back and get into those back catalogs of games that we all remember, that we're going back to retro to play and bringing them forward. So I'm glad you said that.
Oh, yeah. Too many great games.
Yeah, very much so. No, but you also touched on a couple of games that if I had broken out my lists would have been on there. Dead Rising 3 was one of the most underrated, in my opinion, games. It got very mediocre reviews.
I loved it. I mean, zombies everywhere. Yes. I mean, you're running around in your underwear killing zombies with a wiffle ball bat, and you got panties on and stilettos, and you're running for your life. I mean, it don't get any better than that.
No. And that was just Sunset Overdrive.
Right.
But I mean,
I mean, when you watch TV shows like Walking Dead and it's so serious. So if you play a zombie game, you want to have some fun with it. So I agree.
Yeah, and all the things you could do, the baseball bats with the spikes on it, and
the stuff
you got in the vehicles with the stuff on it, and you're just smashing them, and they're, it's great.
Well, and it was great because the co-op in there was so good. And Peter and I played the hell out of that game. And then we did the Horde mode too, and it was really fun. And I don't know why Capcom's mothballed it, because I think that it deserves another run. I think Dead Rising 4 needs to come out. And I remember one of my favorite things about that. See, I was a big Kinect guy, and I remember that in that game, you had to stay quiet. Because if something jumped out at you and you made a sound and you like audibly yelped or something, the Kinect would pick it up and would tell the zombies where you were. So, or you could point to something on the screen and say, "Go there," and your crew would go there. So I mean, it was really cool. There were really cool things about that game. I really had it on my list. And unfortunately, it dropped out of my top 10. But if I was expanding out to top 20, that would be there. It would be there for sure.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad. Yeah, Nate. I remember when Nate was like, "This damn Kinect." He was playing 2K and NBA, and he got called for a technical because he cursed. I remember when that happened.
I love the Kinect up until I actually when that Star Wars Kinect game came out, I tried. I mean, swinging my saber and everything. I actually hurt my elbow, and it was just from I couldn't get it synced right or something. And I managed to muddle my way through the game, but that was the controls and that were bad. But I really enjoyed the Kinect for what it was. I was sad to see it go. I was one of the few at the time that I was arguing for it to stay alive.
I was too, because Fantasia was incredible. It was so incredible.
And the Just Dance game is like it doesn't.
Oh yeah,
it doesn't feel the same with the phone hand or.
And then there was Dance. Yeah, there was Dance Central, which was
that's an even better game.
Yeah. So, and I remember they did a Michael Jackson version of it. I could do a whole thing on Kinect too.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Why did they have to pull the plug? It's just from a consumer standpoint. Like, you want to get an adapter, and then they either don't work or people sell them like for outrageous prices to get the original USB adapter. And the same thing with Kinects too. If you want to find them new, it's like there's some people who bought them up and by the hundreds and selling them for like outrageous prices. It's like, couldn't they have just kept it alive? Just only available at Microsoft Store online. Who cares? But still,
it didn't need to be a main part. Like, it was nice just having it there if you wanted to use it for those type of games. And whether they took that away to use resources somewhere else or not, I just wish that had never been the situation, because I think if it hadn't been, I think that Kinect could have been used for some other type of games.
Yep. And
I mean, it wasn't a system seller, but it was kind of cool having. You bring people over to your house, and you get out Dance Central, and dancing a Lady Gaga or whatever.
Well, and people underestimated how great Kinect Sports was, and Kinect Sports was a hot seller. People like to trash it that never really played it, but there was a lot of good stuff in Kinect Sports.
Right.
And it just they blinked is what really happened. Instead of doing what they should have done and pricing that console at $499 or $399 rather, and just biting the bullet and keeping Kinect in there, because they also really, unfortunately, that who was it that made Rock Band? Who's the Rock Band developer?
Harmonix.
Harmonix.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the ones who made Fantasia, and they were on board to make a ton of. They were going to make so much stuff, and they got screwed because and they publicly at the time more or less said that.
Even Coop's mom played.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, look
Super
at that.
Cooper's mom's getting jiggy with it. Look.
Yeah. So, but I mean, watching my kids, even the little parts that it had in like Zoo Tycoon. I know, Peter, you had Zoo Tycoon.
Yeah. feeding the animals. Kids love that.
Exactly. Watching my kids feed the giraffes and
the elephants and stuff.
Yeah, wash the elephants and stuff like that was just really cool, and it got them involved where they might not, now. And it just they blinked.
Well, you gotta blame the management, the way the whole thing was handled.
Absolutely.
You know how Microsoft operates. If they don't sell like by the millions, then it's a failure, or at least at that point in time. And I think. Oh.
You okay?
Yeah, my headset died.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I thought he got shot or something. He's like,
oh.
But yeah, I think if Phil, the way he's handling things now, and the way Xbox is now a big part of Microsoft, it's not, they have to beg Microsoft to do this and that. I think he would have handled the whole Kinect thing a lot better. He probably would have had a dedicated studio for Kinect games, and then like with Harmonix, he probably would have worked something out and said, "What do you want to make with Kinect?"
Right?
Instead of, and like you said, the price, it should have been $4.99. No, it should have been $3.99 with the Kinect, and because they made a lot of money off of that Kinect.
They did
standalone during the 360 days. So
oh my God, they did. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Well, and people, and you guys may agree or disagree with me. Here's the thing, even on the price though, and Mike knows where I'm going with this. I mean, how many years ago the Sega Saturn launched, and it was what, $3.99 at launch?
Was it? Yes.
At $399, and that launched in what year? That was $99.99 or
96. Dreamcast
96.
launched. Yeah, Dreamcast launched in 99.
Okay, well, $399 for a system that many years ago. That's why, kind of fast forward 20 to 30 years later, I don't really, now this is just me, I don't think that $4.99 20 some years later is really that much asking for. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong.
I agree with
if you compare it,
Yeah, like at the same time, but when your competitor, his system is going at $3.99, it was kind of like, people were in the stores are kind of, $3.99 and still a lot of great games. It's a big choice for $100 difference.
Yeah,
right.
And as Coop was, he's like reading my mind. The PS3 really screwed themselves. Sony really screwed themselves with PS3 coming out at $5.99. At launch. So they, it took them a long time. It's funny because when you step back and you look at it objectively, a lot of what you see, and I give him credit for this, a lot of what you see Phil doing and where Microsoft is now with the Xbox versus where it was in 2013, 2014, you see that parallel. You've seen that parallel with where Sony had to course correct. Sony had to course correct on the PS3, and they did. They sure as hell did. Mm-hmm. And you see that success with the PS4. Microsoft had to course correct. I just don't necessarily. I think there were things they could have done to course correct while still keeping some of us, guys that really bought the system for its original purposes kind of in,
Right.
You talk about choice, but you take Snap away. You talk about choice, but you take the Kinect away. You talk about choice, but you take things away that people actually are using. And that's the thing that's the only thing that I think he's done. And I know why, and I get why. And, to an extent, I blame the gaming community for not sticking it out. But, where, like John, Peter, and Chris, we stuck it out with Kinect.
I actually came under fire for that Kinect. I mean, I was arguing like, I like you, Michael. I remember Twitter, all kinds of social media, man, because I actually enjoyed the Kinect, and I'm a 40-year-old man. I'm getting out there and moving around and playing Dance Central and all these games, and I was arguing. I wanted to keep it.
Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, they should have.
Sorry, Peter.
They should have kept the Kinect a big part of, especially with Mixer and people were streaming.
Oh
like
yeah.
You had the camera there, you had the Kinect there to help with all that. Yeah, I know they had the adapter.
They should have never canceled it. Like, I mean,
yeah, they should.
You know, they put it on a lower burner, but still, like, now what you said for with Mixer and stuff and camera, it could have been used again.
Yeah.
You know? And I bet a lot of people would say, hey, that's a great idea because I like to show my face when I play.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the VR too thing. I mean, I'm kind of glad, to be honest with you. I've had a lot of fun with the PSVR and them continuing to support it. And the headset now is going to work with the new PS5. And even if it loses traction or it's not mainstream or in the current zeitgeist of what people are wanting to play, I like the fact that if I want to, I can goof around with that thing with my wife or get the kids out and we can play the VR because it's kind of a really neat experience when you put that headset on and you're like, oh my God, I'm inside the game.
Sorry, you pull the kids out of the closet and let them.
Right.
You said I get the kids out. So
yeah. But I mean, what I said before, I mean, that's the big difference between Sony and Microsoft. Sony supports things like that, and what I said, Xbox, if it doesn't make millions, then it's out.
Yeah,
right.
And hopefully that's changing or changed a bit. With
it looks like it
now with Phil at the helm, but still, it's like
Well, I think every console needs those quirky little things that differentiate it. It's like the Dreamcast. They had those little VMU memory units. And you could take those out and play little games on it, and they were real simplistic. Or you had your Chaos Emeralds you could store on there, different things. But it was just a little niche thing that worked well, but I'm glad they had it, actually. You could actually call your football players without someone seeing it on the screen. So it was something that was different, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. I love that about the Dreamcast. I love that about the VMUs. That was the coolest thing, calling your own plays on the VMUs, and your opponent couldn't see it.
Right.
So, all right. So, Peter, let's hear your top 10 list.
It's so hard because there's so many games, and all of them have something great. And
but it doesn't have to be. You don't have to numerically put them in order like 10 to 1.
No, I'm not. I'm just coming up with those 10 that I say like, hey, those are already mentioning. So I'm just going to mention some games, and some of them are more like the series that came out. I'll start with on the PlayStation. Horizon Zero Dawn is my absolute favorite. Alloy. Fantastic. Can't get enough. So hopefully they come out with a sequel, and I'm all up for it. That will be my system seller for the PlayStation. Let's see, God of War, another like gem on that system that I couldn't stop playing once I started. Detroit, another one. It's a little different than those other two, but still, it's like I really loved playing, and even like going back in your story just to take a different a different tree line of actions you take, and that was fantastic. Great story too. Still put up Spider-Man because in the end I still had fun, even though I was quite done with it for a while, but not a fantastic game. Going to PC, I have to put up Anno 1800 on it. Fantastic city building game. Let's see, for the Switch, I don't know. They were enjoyable.
Wow.
Not like Mario Kart Racing was great, but I'm not saying like those are it's absolutely my top 10 list. So now on Xbox, a lot of different games that I played on there. I also like to mention Rise. It was a system launch game, and it looked fantastic. I think it played fantastic, even if some people like, too much QTE. I don't know. I enjoyed the heck out of it and really enjoyed it. It was great. I wish they would make a sequel out of that one. The Forza Horizons. I enjoyed it. I mean, the way it plays the best story-wise. I like the early ones better because, getting your wristbands and working yourself up instead of being like the boss. But just combined, the Forza Horizon series is just fantastic. Same thing with Gears 2. Gears 5 was fantastic. Still like all the bosses too in the previous Gears. Same thing with Halo. The later ones, they just mechanic wise they play better. It looks a little smoother, but story wise might not always be the best. But just they're great. One of the new games that I played is Outer Worlds. Love that game. Just the storylines and stuff. So Mike and I were both playing this game, and he took a completely different path, and then we compare notes. I mean, that's just great. It's even though it's single player, you can replay this game and have a completely different outcome. And just the dialogue was great, fantastic. Another worthy game was Hellblade. Just a fantastic game. The audiovisual components of that game. And now that we saw the Game Awards. I mean, it's curious what they're gonna do with Hellblade 2. Looking forward to that one. One game that I also enjoyed playing was Crackdown. Crackdown 3 got a lot of hate. Multiplayer was it sizzled out, didn't have party play, so parties, which is absolutely a huge mistake. That's how this game lost momentum in multiplayer, and multiplayer died like day one. But just collecting all the orbs and even the story-wise was not a fantastic story, but not a bad story either. I enjoyed it. So those are very more platform-specific, except like Hellblade, and Outer Worlds. But other games is the Tom Clancy games. Breakpoint is the last one. The previous ones, all the Ghost Recon games were great. It's like Ubisoft is one of my favorite studios. Great. I mean, I saw Coop mention Skyrim. It's like early on. I love that game too. Oh, yeah. There's so many games that I loved. It's hard to go back 10 years and say like, oh yeah, here's my top 10. They had their moment at that point in time. Enjoyed it, but it's probably pretty much it.
That's a great list.
Trinkets and taking an arrow to the knee.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So, Mr. Chris, and I know you posted it in Discord.
The Assassin's Creed are great too. Just want to mention those. Minus the Animus.
Minus the Animus.
Take that crap out. Just the historic, even though it might not be 100% accurate, but just the atmosphere in those time periods was fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah, and that goes along with Ubisoft. I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's they haven't made many bad games.
No, they have not. So, all right, Mr. Fastback, it is time for your top 10 list.
All right. Mine's more of a combination because, of course, my majority of my gaming has been on Xbox, and that's where I prefer the game. But I did own a PS4 Slim, but I ended up selling it when I got laid off, back in 2015. And then later on, once everything got back into good, I bought a PS4 Pro. And then unfortunately that got stolen because somebody decided to come walk in my house one day.
Oh, shoot.
So, but I still got some PS4 games mixed up in there. And of course I have a Switch, so I got some. So, I'll start off with Hellblade, and this is no particular order as far as what's better or not. So, of course, Hellblade, like Peter mentioned, and super excited for Hellblade 2. And then number 2, I kind of put a combination of indie games. I love a lot of little indie games. So I have Journey, which came out on PS4. I played it on there. Stardew Valley. Edith Finch, and Inside. Those are some indie games that had an impact on me. And I played Hellblade on PS4 when it came out. Number 3, I picked Uncharted 4 and Spider-Man. Yeah, the other PS4 games that I played and loved them. But unfortunately, I didn't get to finish Spider-Man because that disc was inside the PS4 Pro when it got stolen. So hopefully,
here's the lesson: always eject your games.
Yes,
eject,
well, hopefully,
eject.
My progression will be there in the cloud when I get another PS4.
One that I forgot. I don't know if it's on one of your lists, but now I forgot. Tomb Raider.
Oh yeah,
I forgot.
I thought about
it was on there.
It's not on my list, but I thought about it afterwards. Like, oh damn it! That's why it's hard to make a list. Like you try to fit. That's why I've kind of bundled up a couple here.
Yeah.
So number 4 was Ark Survival, even though it was very laggy, but I played that a lot whenever I was late. When I was laid off. So I put a ton of hours in that. I met some cool guys on there. Another one too, playing with people, meeting friends with Sea of Thieves. Playing Peter and Mike and Nate, Crazy Juan, and of course Siberia.
See, if it had optional crossplay, that would have made my list.
I know.
I forgot completely about it. Played that game to death, and then it's like, I had enough.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Number 6, my zombie game is State of Decay 2. And you could probably throw in State of Decay 1 too, because that was around 2012, I think. Just love the series. It's not the AAA game or anything like that, but I thought it was unique. The features and mechanics that they came up with. Number 8, Outer World. I got to get back to finishing that, but I played quite a bit, so I definitely can add that to this. And number 9 is Jedi Fallen, which I'm a big Star Wars fan. So any good Star Wars game that comes out, and this one definitely, I love the story and just the challenge. I'm not one to play games that are like Dark Souls like games, and this one. And Coop, he was in chat with me a couple times where I just kept, I had to keep repeat on some of these bosses. But, it's rewarding when you finally defeat them. So, even though it's a pain in the ass. Number 10 is Gears 5. But, and I definitely love this last one, the story, how they open up the single player campaign a little bit more. And I love Gears 4 too. I really like the story of what's her name, Kate. Mm-hmm. How they progress from 4 into 5, and then obviously, I think it's going to continue on 6 for her. And now I'm going to throw in some co-op, like Peter was talking about. The Ghost Recon Wild. Forza Horizon 3 and 4. Oops, I forgot that. Mm-hmm. That was in my top 10. Especially Forza Horizon 3. I had a lot of fun with that because that's when I started gaming, with Peter, and Mike and Nate and Coop and Witty. That's where I started gaming with you guys. That's what got us all going. So, that game means a lot to me because of you guys. So I have a couple going to the Switch, even though it's not in the top 10. It's so hard to fit all that in. But Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8. I had a lot of fun with those, especially Odyssey. Just to be able to play with my daughter. Like us, we're old school gamers, and some of us here started on Mario back in the day. The original. And I think it's awesome that game is still around to where it can still have an impact on generations. Here we are, we're playing with our kids with that game, and we'll be playing that again too with their grandkids. So, and then of course the co-op, the Ghost Recon Wildlands. I didn't play a lot of Breakpoint with these guys, but Far Cry 5 and Division.
Oh, again, yeah.
Ubisoft stuff. I just love the Ubisoft because it brings the co-op to where I can, be able to play with these guys. And we have a lot of fun in that stuff. And that way, Coop can carry me those games. He's been carrying me through all the Ubisoft co-op games. So
he
appreciate
carries
it, Coop.
everyone. He carries everyone.
Yes, he does. Help us level up real quick.
That man has a big, wide back. Man, it's a good list.
Yeah, that's my list. Yeah, it's really hard to fit all in. So and plus
back still hurts.
Yeah, yeah, he knows it. So,
well, so my top 10 really is there's some similarities. I've got a couple of things in there that you guys don't, but it's amazing how close our gaming tastes are, especially mine and Peter's. I am actually, I found it interesting, especially in light of being in the chat room on Iron Lord's podcast this past weekend, and actually getting recognized for King and I bringing the truth about the fact that nobody has Red Dead Redemption 2 on their list.
Oh yeah.
So
I know,
fantastic looking game. Such a disappointment.
Such a disappointment. I didn't even. I once I got out of the snow, I was too bored to play anything. To play it anymore.
I actually love that game. I should have had that. Hold on, let me go back and add it.
But funny thing is like RDR1, I absolutely love.
Yeah.
The multiplayer in RDR1 was so fun.
No, yeah, I haven't spent much time in it. I mean, we played it. It was fun, but that was probably most of it. But just the single player part is fantastic. I love just riding my horse around the whole, around the whole map. It was fantastic.
He got his horses in the back. Oh man! All right, so my top 10. And this is in no particular order either, because it's really hard to put them in a numerical order. I'm impressed that you did it, John, because I couldn't. So, but I will say that perhaps my most favorite game of the generation had to be God of War. Just a game with little flaw, a game that I would wake up in the middle of the night to want to go play. There was just something about this one that caught me in a way that the other ones didn't. And I wasn't sure because, they went to the over-the-shoulder look from the isometric 3D kind of look, and I was like, this, they're selling out. But man, what they did with that game was incredible. So, hey, what's up, Invader? So that is probably my favorite game of the generation. If I had one that was my top. On that same vein, the one of the only 3 games on the PlayStation that I platinumed was Horizon Zero Dawn, and that was another one that was very special. It was open world, but you got into it and you felt for Aloy, and you felt for her story, and you felt like, I remember, guys, if you haven't played it by now, it's like $4 or something stupid that you could buy it for. When her kind of mentor father type figure got killed, it was a heart wrencher, and then you wanted to win, and you wanted to beat the game, if for nothing else and I remember the towards the end when you went to his grave site, you could speak to him, and it was so that was one of my favorites too. Gears 5. So Gears 4 was great, and unfortunately, Microsoft the coalition made the mistake of letting us know Dom was alive at E3. I was still happy when I opened the door and there he was, but man, the surprise in 4 to see to see Marcus. I had Dom on the brain because he's always dying in the game. To see Marcus there, in the chair when JD opens up the door was a neat moment. But 5 took it to the next level, and that choice you had to make. And this is what games have done. I love this about these games. Games like Gears 5, The Order 1886, and a couple others where you have to make a choice, or you have to do something that you don't want to do. You got to make your choice between. I don't think I'm spoiling anything at this point. Well, you have to make a choice in Gears 5 that you just go, I don't know what to do here. And you pause the game and you kind of step away from it so that you could think about your actions. But like with the Order 1886, and I've told this before, the end of that game where your friend is turning and he tells you to shoot him, and you are standing there over his body with the shotgun, and you have to hit RB to shoot him. And I put the controller down on the couch, and I just sat there like this. Nope, not doing it. Mm-hmm. I'll just wait. I'll wait it out. And see if it's some moral choice that then lets me get away with not killing my friend. Nope. I eventually had to. If I wanted to finish the game, I had to kill my friend, and that was something that just it games today are doing that to me, where they can tug on an emotional string. Gears 5 tugged on that string towards the end of that game, and I was consumed by a few pieces of that game. So that to me went above and beyond 4, and is definitely one of my top games of this decade. Ori and the Blind Forest, which is on your list, John. Something about that game too is just special, and Will of the Wisps is going to take that up a notch. I'm going to give you another that you guys don't have on your lists. Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Ooh.
What a game! Bethesda's always done well with Wolfenstein, but that game was. It was different, and there's a couple of scenes in that game that just grabbed me, like when you're in the courtroom, right, and you break out of your chains and you have to take out all these enemies, all these Nazis. Come to find out, it was just an illusion. It was just a dream, and you're still in the chair, and you die, and you get killed, and then and then the whole craziness that happens beyond that. But the just another game that just redefined what Wolfenstein was, and led to the Old Blood, the New Colossus, and those games. So that's on my list. Skyrim is on my list. Skyrim was 2011. One of the last Xbox 360 games I really got into before jumping to the next gen. And I came from Morrowind, which was okay, but Skyrim was something different. And Skyrim had that great Kinect integration, where if you learned how to say the Dragon's Breath spells, and you actually said them, Hush Rafa or whatever it was you did.
Yeah,
you could actually, right? Yeah, you could actually do the spells without having to, do this with your controller. The other cool thing you could do with it was you could say, "Equip my sword and shield," and you didn't have to pause the game, equip my sword and shield, unpause, and keep going. And the world was so expansive that it just set the tone for these newer open world games. Skyrim really reset the bar for open world games, and I think it led the way to games like Horizon Zero Dawn and those. Sunset Overdrive. It did new things. It was unique, and had Microsoft not blinked and changed its whole system around, it was a game that was going to really utilize that always on mentality. And they tried. They did their best. They tried. Forza Horizon 3. As good as 4 looks, and as good as it looks on the X, and I think, Peter, you might agree with me with this, I think Forza Horizon 3 is a more complete game.
Yeah, what I hate about 4 is the clothing and the emotes and all that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
The weight, yeah.
Yeah. But the rest of the game is so good that I wish you could just pick and choose parts of it. It's like,
But remember in 3, the first time it became nighttime, and the first time you really saw those fireworks off in the distance, there was something special. And 3 still has, in my opinion, I know you guys played the Lego DLC for 4, but I still to this day think the Hot Wheels for 3 is the best DLC I've ever seen in a racing game.
Yes. Yeah, and that's one of my main reasons too for picking 3 and 4, because the Hot Wheels and the Lego. Loved it.
Yeah, the Lego was really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looked good, but there was the Hot Wheels was just so innovative. With the loops and the way the tracks looked and all that stuff. So 3 was mine. I have Spider-Man on this list. It's the other game that I platinumed of the 3 that I platinumed. I didn't mind the missions, the special missions, and I loved swinging around. I loved everything about the game. Uncharted 4, the third game I platinumed. I don't platinum a lot of games. I don't 1,000 a lot of games. Horizon, Spider-Man, and Uncharted 4 are my 3 platinums. I'm hopeful that Naughty Dog, once they're done with The Last of Us, takes Uncharted and continues the story with the daughter, because I think there's a story there to be had. One where the daughter grew, she's grown up a little bit, because I think at the end of 4 she's kind of 9 or 10 years old or something like that. I'd like to see it when she's 14 or 15. She something comes along, kind of like a little young Indiana Jones kind of motif, where something comes along she gets involved in, and mom and dad have to come and save the day, or have to they end up joining her on the quest at some point, because they need to help, and they have to prove that they're older, but they're not too old to do a little treasure hunting or something like that. I think there's something to be had there. And I mean, that's my 10. There's so many more, you guys, that we can pick from. But
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, those are the ones that stuck with me, and have stuck with me this whole time.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like hearing your list or Peter's or John, it's like, oh yeah, I could have added that to mine, but it's just, that's just why, like we said, that it's a great time to be a gamer where we are now, because there should be no complaints. The only complaint that I have is that I don't have enough time or enough money. It's just no way we could play all these games.
Yeah.
And I give a lot of credit to John, especially Peter, that you can sit here and own multiple consoles and be able to finish these games.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, Chris, it's getting hard. I mean, like Peter, I believe we turned 47 this year. Mm-hmm. And after all the years of gaming and with work, I'm an electrician. I've got a pretty intense job. I work in a factory. I take care of robots, big machinery. I do all kinds of stuff. So it's not only mentally taxing, but it's physically taxing. So coming home and with just getting older, I had gallbladder surgery this year, had it removed. So for 2 months, I was recovering from that. So still getting around and playing games, still getting up and doing the VR and things, like I said, I'm going to keep playing for as long as I can. I mean, if I'm 80 years old and I can still play, so be it, because gaming is the one thing that, for me, I can forget about work, any kind of problems, and you can just live out your fantasies, or you can be the superhero, or you can be the detective, and things like that. And that's what's great about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's
Absolutely.
it's like I've always enjoyed reading books, and I love watching movies and TV shows. But the thing about gaming is that you're able to interact with them, and you're able to kind of have an effect on the outcome of the game at the end. So
Yeah.
that's why gaming is a huge business. I think it makes more money than movies.
It does.
So
yeah.
And I didn't like Coop asked why we didn't have Last of Us or Mass Effect 2. I forgot Mass Effect 2 was 2010, to be fair. Mass Effect 2 was awesome. It was an awesome
Great game.
So yeah, having sex in space.
It's like I
awesome.
told him, I didn't go that far back. So I pretty much stuck to this gen, even though I know we could have, but yeah.
And The Last of Us, I've never played. I have it sitting here on the shelf.
Oh my goodness, Peter.
So yeah, I know. And I have Days Gone on the shelf too. I got that, picked it up.
Well, I got to admit, that's why I didn't include Days Gone. I got the big collector's edition with the statue. I haven't had time to start it yet. That's why I didn't include it, because
it's cool, but it's not grabbing me like it's grabbing everyone else. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if it's just, but I mean, it's a cool game. I like some of the mechanics. The clickers piss me off, but it's not. I'm more Uncharted than I am Last of Us.
I guess what really I can't tell because Peter hasn't played the game. Darn it!
Oh, you can tell me. I'm a.
No, I can't.
Yes, you can.
Do you know the storyline at all? I feel
a little bit. Yeah. So
all right. Well, the opening scene when Joe loses someone very close to him, and Ellie he finally meets. For me, I don't know if it's because, I have 4 kids, but there was something about when you lose a child and then he runs into somebody that actually could use a father figure in their life, and how 2 people from 2 different worlds come together. To me, that was more the story than the actual killing the zombies. It was that relationship between Joel and Ellie that really, I don't know, something about that really emotionally grabbed me, and
okay.
I enjoyed that more than killing the zombies or the mutants, whatever you want to call them. It was Joel and Ellie that got me hooked on that game.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that part of the game did kind of tug at me too at the beginning. I just kind of lost. I don't know. I just kind of lost it for me a little bit. Is all. And to be fair, now that I've played Halo Reach came out in like 2011. That should retroactively be on my list. It came out in September 2010. Because to me, that game is better than 4 and 5. And I liked 4. I liked 4. I really liked 4 when people didn't. 5 is decent. But Reach, I just beat it this week. I beat that right before I played After Party, and holy cow! There's another one where the ending. I played the ending multiple times, which I don't normally do, to see how far I could get, and because the last level is literally just see how long you can hold out before the end of the game. And knowing that my character, all the people that there was so much. What did I say? It was the Empire Strikes Back of the Halo series, where really you didn't win. There was no happy ending to that game, and Reach got destroyed. Yes, it made the way for Master Chief and it made the way for Halo Combat Evolved, but there was no happy ending to Reach. And yeah, so unfortunately I just have a top 10, otherwise I'd be on it too. So
yeah, Reach happens to be my second favorite Halo game. For me it was Halo 3, Reach, and then Halo 1. If I had to pick my top 3, I think Halo 3, the multiplayer was great. 4 was actually really good. Reach, it kind of changed a little bit when 343 kind of took over. Like with the there was a change kind of, but those would be my 2 top Halos. Would be 3, then Reach, and then number 1, of course, the first Halo.
I liked 2 over 3.
Did you?
Yeah.
Do you like the Flood?
I like the Flood.
Oh, I couldn't stand them. Those leafy,
I know. But it was the first. But it was the first game. It was the first game that dual weaponed. So.
Yeah.
So. Plus, I remember that E3. So.
On 2, for some reason, I'm not. Of course, I'm not great on multiplayer. But when we had that one mode where you can one-shot each other with the 2 pistols, headshot, for some reason, I always came out on top on that. And so I'm like, okay. I always try to get my buddies, let's do this mode, let's do this one. It's like, no. But if we're going back to 2010, and like Coop brought up, of course, Mass Effect 2, which I love Mass Effect. I love Mass Effect series, and I might as well bring up Dragon Age. Definitely love that series.
Excellent.
And of course the Halo series. I know I didn't put it in my top 10, but I loved Halo Reach, of course. And like John, it's Halo 3 and Reach for me. But I loved Reach and 4, and I loved 5. I know the story wasn't all that great. Just repetitive with the main boss, but I love the games. They were beautiful, and of course jump online for a little bit. But and then of course I have to give a big shout out to the Grand Theft Auto 5. I've always loved the Grand Theft Auto games, of course for the campaigns, but. Grand Theft Auto 5 online, me and my brothers, because we, for years, we live in different states. So Grand Theft Auto 5 is like our playground, and we come together and jump in there and just act stupid and, played tons of that. There were a couple times where we played until 5 a.m, like we were kids again. So definitely, I have to have Grand Theft Auto 5 in there. It's, we can go on and we can end up going, oh yeah, I remember this and that, and going back to 2010.
Oh, there's too many, man. I'm actually overwhelmed right now, guys. And like I said, I have all the systems, but man, it's impossible between work and family. So I kind of have to make some concessions sometimes. Like I just kind of bounce around and I kind of play what feels right. Sometimes I'll go back and like when Bard's Tale 4 came out, a lot of people probably maybe never even heard of Bard's Tale games before. But when the 4th one come out, I was like, oh my God, this is great. So I kind of jumped over to that, and I had all these games sitting on my shelves. They're still in plastic that I haven't even opened yet.
Yeah.
But it's hard.
It is. I have to even give a nod to Destiny. Like I really enjoyed Destiny 1. Like of course, Project Depth brought up Bungie. I mean, they are wonderful with how they just to play the mechanics. Destiny is one of the best, mechanical FPS games out there. That it's a beautiful game to play.
Did you shoot Chris for the engrams in the cave? The endless engrams?
Oh yeah, I did. I saw that video. I'm like, hell yeah, let me go there and
I spent hours shooting in the cave and watching all these colorful engrams coming out, hoping I'd get that magic one,
Yeah. I had a lot of fun with the first one, but back then when that came out, I didn't have these Peter and Coop and Mike to jump in there with. But when the second one came out, I had I had Peter, I had Coop, and Nate.
You didn't have me to play Destiny with.
No, you didn't jump on there, but I had a lot of fun with them there, just jumping into the single player stuff, and I think we did do a little bit of multiplayer, had fun there. But other than that, I mean it. Shout out to the Iron Lords, because that was a big reason why they came together, because of Destiny, and I think even Jeff, not Jeff, but Frankie, his boys. That was one reason why they came together, because of Destiny. So games like that co-op games, where it brings people together, and then they come out of then they're friends out of the game, and they come together and do podcasts together. I mean, it's great. So, and that's one reason why I love how crossplay is coming into play. Not so much, crossplay between PC and consoles, but it'll be great once, let's say Destiny 3 comes out and it's crossplay between PS4 or PlayStation and Xbox, to where you can sit there and co-op together, because Destiny has clans, and you can have clans that are on different platforms, but you can't play together. So hopefully that opens up there. So we'll see.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, yes.
So, by the way, I'm going to very quickly, I'm only going to do it very quickly, because I said earlier I was going to, so Frankie, who, one of these days he's got to, when he can, he needs to jump back in here too. Here's his top 10. Now, his is combined, but I wanted to read his top 10, because there's a couple in here that I agree with.
He's got a
too.
unique list. Yeah.
He does have a unique list. So at number 10, and this is kind of sort of, I think, how I met his. It's definitely how I met some of his Short Pause friends. Was Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, and I don't have it on my list because, again, I can only do top 10. If I had a top 20, Plants vs. Zombies would be on there, because that was a hell of a fun co-op horde style game. And then it became very fun. Even I'm not a big PvP guy, but that was fun PvP too. Next, he had number 9. He had Shadow of Mordor. Number 8, the Banner Saga. One of Peter's favorite games.
Yeah. Right.
So, number 7, which I think was on one of your lists, John, but not the same number, Yakuza 0. So you had 6, right, on yours.
I had 6, although 0 is excellent.
If you're on Xbox, you're gonna get a chance to play it next year.
0 is excellent. They're actually all good, but
yeah.
So,
I was gonna say, hey,
I played some of it.
6. Mike, skip 6.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. I just joke.
Oh.
You know how Frankie feels about that one.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I was saying, skip 6. Just skip 6.
His favorite game of all time. Battleborn.
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 Oh yeah.
I'll tell you, man, they should have just put his face on the cover of that game, because he is Mr. Battleborn. When everyone else was playing Overwatch, he was like, "Nope, I'm playing Battleborn." So
no ship should go down without their captain.
Yeah, he went down with it already.
Yeah. He went down with it all the way down, and I'm shutting it off.
I've never seen anybody like, oh yeah, he was all over that game. I on Twitter, everywhere. I mean, you couldn't find anybody that worked so hard for that game.
And he's the only one that had a poster of it behind in the background too when he was in the podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Number 5 was Battle Chasers Night War. Yes. Number 4, one that I honestly still have never heard of to this day, Dead Cells.
Okay.
I've heard good things about that.
Number 3, Monster Hunter World. It's a good one. Mm-hmm. I know you love that game too. Number 2 would be on my top 20, and there just wasn't
I was surprised
room for
you
it.
didn't have it.
Especially you got the poster behind you right there. I know. Doom.
Yep.
Doom was my 2018 game of the year.
Yep.
And then number 1, Witcher 3. So that's Frankie's list. If you want, we could really quickly see. Let's go. Let me scroll back up because Coop took the time to type out a list. So here's Coop's list. I'm going to go from 10 down. So he started with Mass Effect 2. He has at number 9 Fallout New Vegas. Not a bad choice. Oh, sorry, the thing scrolled away from me. Hang on. Sometimes my mouse does that. Here we go. Number 8, Lone Echo. Number 7, Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor. Oh, and he's got the years on it too. So Mass Effect 2 was 2010, Fallout New Vegas was 2010, Lone Echo was 2017, Middle Earth was 2014, Skyrim. So Skyrim is also on his list. Forza Horizon 3 is also on his list, 2016. Last of Us is on his list at 2013. Zelda Breath of the Wild is his number 3 game, 2017. The Division, he has it number 2. And I can totally understand why he's got the Division on there. And his number 1 game was God of War. So he matches mine.
Yeah.
So that's a great list. Great list.
Was the Lone Echo VR, PSVR?
I
can't remember.
Say it was. Yes, it was for Oculus.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So, made by Ready at Dawn. So, I have to give kind of a honorable mention to Star Trek Bridge Crew, since him and I played that a lot. So those are Coop's top 10 games. This is all great stuff. I mean, I think, John, I think you said it best. People say that this past year wasn't that great. I don't know that I think the whole decade has been. I've heard people say this generation of games has been really bad. And while I talked earlier about how great retro games were and how some of that is a product of the games that are out now, there have been some great gems that have come out this generation. I think we've all hit upon them.
Oh man, Mike, there's I agree with you. There have been so many great games. I mean, in fact, I've got a new predicament because we know that these new consoles are coming out next year. And I've got so big of a backlog. I'm not even going to be able to catch up. When these new consoles launch, I always get things day one, so I'll get them all day one. But I won't be near finished with the games I've got. And, with my work and my family, I can't. I've got some big games I got to play, and there's just no way. And then, of course, I made a list for even 2020 games that I want to say. But there's games coming out next year before the new consoles launch. So, I mean, I'm looking at all this, and I'm going, my God, how am I going to find time to play all these? So I kind of disagree that I think it's been a good generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's been very good.
Yeah, I can't say it's been better than past generations, but I can say that it's been very solid.
Right.
I can't say that knowing that Dreamcast launch lineup is still out there. So I mean, that's Oh,
that was awesome, Mike. Best launch ever. I'm telling you.
Still untouched to this day. But the good news is, and this is where a lot of the conversation and arguments and things about forward and backward compatibility and all this stuff is, I hear the newest thing now is, the PS5 isn't going to launch with any, isn't going to launch with any games, any exclusive games. Well, no, but you're going to launch with the entire PS4 lineup. You're going to launch, and by the time you get that thing, you'll be able to get Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2. It's going to launch with an entire lineup of games that you didn't have when you bought your PS4. When we bought the PS4 and Xbox One, we had whatever was out on that system and whatever, cross-gen second versions of games they brought forward. But now, with the Series X and with the PS5, you are launching with hundreds of games. So this is a different time.
Well, with the Risen, with the architecture and thing, even if one console's got a little more of this and a little of that, especially with the PS5 and the new Xbox console, they're going to be so similar. So they're each going to have great games. Really, I've actually, you know me, guys. I'll get on Twitter once in a while, but sometimes all the arguing and bickering. Hopefully that eventually some of this will stop. I know guys say they do it for fun sometimes, but I don't really believe that either.
No,
it's all fun until somebody.
Like, I just troll for fun.
Right. I mute the people who do it for fun.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
So I'm going to go into 2020. I mean, I've got the best attitude I've ever had in the last few years. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to get all the consoles, and I'm just going to try to get around as best as I can to playing everything and supporting all these game developers. So that's kind of my goal for next year,
Yeah.
It's a great goal.
And that's always been my thing too. It's like people get so caught up in about the exclusives, from PlayStation and Xbox. It's like, we still got all these great games that come third party, and some years PlayStation will have more, some big exclusives and maybe more of them, and sometimes it's Xbox or whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, no matter what, we're getting great games coming out each year, especially throughout this gen. And 2020, going forward, it just looks even better. And like you said, I mean, you always heard the argument that, well, the Xbox One X, it's better, it's more powerful, the games look better on it. That's fine. I mean, it's, I agree with a lot of that. But when I sit there and play Spider-Man or Uncharted, when I was playing on the Slim, I think Mike still has a Slim.
I have the original.
Or you just have the regular.
I don't even have a Slim.
But the games still look good. What these developers do, the hard work they put in to get as much out of the system for these games. I mean, they're beautiful games, and I don't sit there and this game is not exactly 4K. It's only, whatever. Or it's only 30 FPS. None of that stuff matters to me. I mean, if the game looks good and I'm enjoying it, hey, I'm loving it. So
well, and I agree with you, Chris. Sometimes what's on paper doesn't necessarily translate to on screen, because you can have an awesome television, a 4K television that might be a little bit better, that may have true HDR instead of some of the 8-bit. It may have the 10, or something. So there's a lot of things that can make a game look better. Somebody might be playing on a monitor, so yeah, sometimes the specs we get and everything, and I know that's used on social media to argue about these consoles and stuff, but at the end of the day, all these games look good, and I can vouch for it because I've got all the systems and I play them, and they all look good.
Yeah.
So it's just arguing points.
It is.
Yeah, and if you put stuff like side by side, it's like, oh yeah, this one looks a little better than this one. Well, when you're running and gunning and running by it, you don't notice anything.
You don't.
Yeah,
nope.
Right. Nope. I can't see the little 10-year-old shooting me in the back.
Exactly.
That's it.
Man.
Yesterday, at a family gathering, and I have a couple of my wife's cousins. They're real big on gaming, and so we were just sitting there talking about different stuff about the PlayStation, Xbox, and I brought up, I told them, hey, did y'all see the Series X come out? And they said, yeah. And like they brought up how they didn't have a problem with the name. They heard there was some arguments about the name or about the way it looked, and it's like, what does it matter if it's doing what it's supposed to do and the games are play and look great on it? It doesn't matter. And then of course we were talking about pricing, right? And I wonder what, especially John, that you're here, and I know I haven't talked to you guys, Mike and Peter, about it the last couple of weeks. But the pricing on the Series X,
I think
for me, I'm going with $499, just because I feel like the PS5 is going to be at that, and if Xbox wants to kind of still be at that same price or lower than PlayStation, just so they can create a buzz out there. But I know it's got a lot of specs in there, so I was wondering what you guys thought.
Yeah, I think not necessarily the buzz, but negative buzz. They don't want to have the negative buzz going on.
Yeah.
Well, and while we talked about it, so there was one thing that Peter, I forgot to bring up last week. So I had said, I think if they really wanted to be bold and throw to put a metaphor out there, throw their dick out on the table. I think they go $399, but realistically,
I brought that up too. The crazy part of me says $399, just because they can afford it.
Well, here's what Phil Spencer said. He said we will not be beat on power, and we will not be beat on price. Yeah. So unless they know that the PS5 is going to be $600. It won't be. I know. I there's no way. And they'll use Game Pass. They'll use Game Pass subscriptions to offset that.
Exactly. Yeah, and being on PC too.
And being on PC.
Putting their games on Steam and the Game Pass on PC. It's huge. Makes up a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go with Chris on this one. I'm going to say that neither console is going to be below $499, and I mean, it's 2020. Like I said, we had consoles that were $399 over 20 years ago, and these consoles are packing a punch. I think with the Game Pass, if especially on the Xbox side, if the day one releases are on Game Pass, they're still going to need to make. I mean, that's still quite a bargain, and they got to make some money somewhere. So I can't see them giving the hardware away that cheap. I don't know. As long as they stay around the same as Sony and Microsoft, if they stay in the same ballpark, I don't see you're going to see much of an issue. I mean, I don't know, but if you guys are like me, I'm not going to let $100 stop me from getting either one. Like if they say they're $499, I'm going out day one with a smile on my face. I'll pick me up the Xbox One Series X, and I'll go get the PS5, and I'll come home, and I'll be happy and content. I have no problem with that price point. In fact, I would say that's probably the low end. But I'm going for $499. I think. Okay. Maybe $450. Maybe $459 with some kind of special coupon.
Well, I said that last week. I said, what if they split the difference?
Mm-hmm.
$449.
Yeah, I can see
but
that.
Here's the thing. There's also like a psychological thing going on. If you're going to be cheaper, doesn't mean you're have the lesser console.
Yeah, no, right. True.
I think they're going to be the price the same.
$498.
But like John was saying, I wouldn't be surprised if Xbox Phil waits for PlayStation to reveal the price.
Yeah.
And then they say, all right, we're going to undercut them $50, maybe, at least, whatever.
I don't think they're going to do that.
Never know. Never know.
Well, yeah,
$5.99 is a lot. I agree with you. $5.99 is too much.
Yeah.
That's.
But I tell you what, they surprised us this last Game Awards by coming out and revealing the Series X. I mean, nobody saw that coming.
And I made a culpa. Look, I was wrong, and I was hey, Jeff, Happy New Year, brother. We'll see you next week. In the new decade.
Appreciate you, Jeff.
Yeah, we do appreciate you, brother.
Good hearing from you.
Even if we don't always agree, brother, I love you. I said people weren't going to buy the Xbox One X at $500. I said, I made statements about the X, and I was totally wrong about it. For what I considered an apology console, and sure enough, I got a Project Scorpio edition. So
Well, the other thing, Michael, is you get a lot of people that wait till the last year or two at the end of a generation, and they're just now buying their first Xbox One or their PS4. And of course, then they hear about the new systems coming out next year, and they're like, "Well, I just got the PS4 and the Xbox One," but you'll have those people too. They're like really late at the end, but I kind of discount that. I mean, if you haven't bought a console in 6 or 7 years toward the end of the life cycle, there's no reason to complain about the new ones coming out in 2020.
Exactly.
You've missed out on a whole generation.
You have. I agree with that.
So
it takes about 6-7 years just to even reach 100,000, 100 million sold. So it's not like everybody jumped ship right away. I mean, I didn't jump on the Xbox One until Titanfall bundle came out. So
people buy a console too, and they're not just going to buy the console. They're going to pick up maybe an extra controller. They're going to buy at least probably 2 or 3 games. Maybe they're updating their Xbox Live or their PlayStation service. So, I mean, people are going to pay more anyway. I mean, let's be honest. They're not just going to walk in there, and they're going to want some games and different things. I know that every console launch, I've always walked out with a few games and extra controllers. So you're going to end up spending more anyway. So that's why I'm not so stuck on the price point. What that actually is.
And I was thinking too, because Coop brought up about how people they'll pay $1,000 for a phone, but then I brought up also but most people they do the deals where you just pay for a new phone through your bill,
right?
So that new payment plan, what do they call that? The one where now you can go on Amazon or so, and you can upgrade. You can go get the new Xbox, and you can make payments on it. And now you can even do that with the Series X when it comes out. So I think that's going to help out a lot of people to make that decision to, it's easier on their wallet to jump over to the new.
Or you could just save $50 a month, and then you got, $600. If you just start because everybody knows that they're going to be launching probably next November or holiday season. So all you have to do is kick a little money to the side. If you start right now, it's not such a big deal, come next November.
You know what that reminds me of? And I haven't seen her in months. What was her name? What's her name? Shoot. Oh. Our Australian friend.
Oh,
Bella Rise.
Yeah.
Bella Rise.
Yeah.
She came. So we had this discussion like this about how to get PSVR one show she was on, and she literally rolled out a spreadsheet and said
like John said, you get saved.
Yep. You throw a couple bucks aside every paycheck, and sooner, as it comes up, it just reminded me of that. That's funny. I mean, you're right.
It's not that much, Michael. I mean, if you're going to pay $20 or $30 for subscription services, you can surely stick $30-$40 a month back for a console, especially when months ahead of time it's coming out.
Right. Well, that's $60 that I didn't spend on Gears 5. I mean, honestly, that gave me the opportunity to buy another game that I wasn't thinking about over on the PlayStation, because I have that money now. So yeah, you can take that money that you would normally get or normally spend, and oh my.
I don't know if you guys will see it light up or not. I got to find my little switch. I might have to turn off the lights for a second.
Oh, this is great.
There we go.
Oh yeah. There we go.
There we go.
Oh man.
Yeah, look at the blade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I'd rather wear that than an ugly sweater, Christmas sweater.
Right.
We actually have ugly Hanukkah sweaters now. We have decided to get in on that action. So
nice.
Yeah, I got my. Let me see if I can find it while we're talking. My wife took a picture of the kids in their sweaters, and it's adorable. But yeah, I mean, you could do that. You could put money away. I think what I did to get my Xbox One was I traded in a bunch of old games that I had accumulated over years. Unfortunately, and I don't know that I miss it like I thought I would, but in order to get my PlayStation 4, I traded in my old Neo Geo games. Right. Because I couldn't find, to buy another Neo Geo system to even play them on was going to cost me $500 or $600. So I'm like, it's really not worth keeping the games if I'm not going to be able to really do much with them. I wheeled and dealed a little bit to get what I could get. So, but I kind of understand that. So, here's our contributing to that.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Spinner, coach your dinner.
Nice.
Yes, spinner, because that's a dreidel reference.
That is awesome.
On the right-hand side is my middle son, Seth, who loves cats. So his says Meowseltuff. And then Spencer, my youngest, his also lit up. So the little
nice.
The little lights on the menorah lit up. So.
Oh, that's an awesome picture, Mike.
Yeah, I like that. Good-looking boys there.
Yeah, those are my kids. Yep. I love them.
They definitely look like
spinner, kosher dinner.
Yeah, spinner, kosher dinner. So, I dared them to go to school with those on. They would. So, it's okay.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, all right. So, where's my lapel here? Get back to that. All right. I did have one other thing because I know we're after midnight. What a night this has been. Holy crap. This is reminiscent of the old 3-hour shows, man. We're not going 3 hours. I'm not going to let us do it. But I did want to, I do have one more thing for us on the docket. I have not seen a PlayStation Plus games PS Plus for January 2020 yet, but there is an Xbox Games with Gold for 2020, and I really quickly want you guys to check out this video.
Hi, Xbox fans. Get ready for the Games with Gold January lineup. As always, all 4 games are playable and acquirable on Xbox One and free to those with an active Xbox Live Gold or Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription. Starting on January 1st, infiltrate the city of the Dark Elves in Styx, Shards of Darkness. Alone or with a friend, sneak past your enemies and embark on a stealthy adventure as the Goblin Thief Styx. Deceive your enemies, craft deadly traps, and utilize unparalleled freedom of movement to accomplish the robbery of a lifetime. Then, on January 16th, put on the cape and cowl in Batman: The Telltale series. Featuring all 5 complete episodes, step into the fractured psyche of billionaire Bruce Wayne and his dark persona, the Batman. Featuring a noteworthy rogues gallery including Two-Face, Penguin, and Catwoman, your actions will determine the fate of the Dark Knight in this gritty and violent tale. On the Xbox 360 January 1st, test your reflexes against the best fighters in the world in Tekken 6. In this 6th version of the King of the Iron Fist tournament, choose from a wide field of combatants, each with their own brand of deadly techniques and combinations. Featuring fast-paced action and deep character customization, discover why this series is among the top of its genre. Finally, on January 16th, return to the epic saga from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away in LEGO Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. Play through all 3 of the original Star Wars films in the tongue-in-cheek LEGO style and humor. You'll enjoy endless hours brick building your way to adventure with over 50 of your favorite Star Wars characters. To redeem the titles, simply click on the gold area on your Xbox One, your Xbox 360, or even on the web at xbox.com/gameswithgold. Your new games will automatically appear in the ready to install section of your Xbox One. With Xbox Live Gold and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you are part of the world's premier gaming community.
All right, so there you have it. So, so Coop said the Force is weak with that list.
Yeah.
I'm interested in Sticks. I love stealth games, and the Batman Telltale, definitely. I haven't played that.
Yeah, I thought, and Sticks looks different than what I thought it was. I thought Sticks was a card game, but it's not. So I might give that a whirl.
Yeah.
I think they included the wrong version of Tekken 6. They really wanted to make a splash. They should have done the new Tekken.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Or put it in Game Pass. I don't think Tekken's in Game Pass. So. So, what do you guys think?
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
Not anything like super excited about, but not anything. I mean,
I've played some Sticks, and my wife, she actually played a little bit longer. She had a little more patience than I did. That game's not bad, but it's got like from what I remember, extremely long load times. Like if you die, I mean, you're sitting there waiting and waiting.
Yeah.
And wait. If I remember right.
so you literally die after you die.
Yeah.
Comes back up.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of meh as well. And my kids love the Star Wars Lego stuff. I mean, those are solid games. They always have been.
Yeah.
I played a little bit of the Batman Telltale, but this actually reminds me I need to go back and get back into the Arkham series because I did play Arkham Asylum and now I need to play Arkham City. I might grab. I mean, I'll grab Stick. I'll grab the games because I grab them anyway. So.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Always obtain the license.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly. Yeah. So. All right, boys. So man, what a great show. I don't have anything else for tonight, but good grief, what a great show, John, my man. I'm happy to have you on.
Yeah. Awesome,
man. It's been great, man. This is like awesome.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to show off my jacket.
Yes.
Yeah. Fantastic.
It says fa la 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 on the front too.
It's a little hot though. I think I better take it off.
Hey, it's a fabulous way to end the year.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Definitely got to get you on more.
Oh yeah. Anytime, man. Anytime.
Oh, I'd love that. Yeah.
Anytime you want to come on. You're always welcome. I mean, you are, like I said, you are alumni. You are, you will always have you will always have a place here. You're former co-host. I mean, it's
awesome.
Whenever you want.
Good deal. I'd be more than welcome. Yeah.
Yep, most definitely. So, Peter, Chris, anything else on the docket?
I don't think so.
No, just want to get try to finish up Outer Worlds and Jedi Fallen before they going back to work. So,
yeah, I'm close in finishing Breakpoints. So,
nice.
Maybe 2 more missions, maybe 3, and then that's it.
I gotta figure out what to start next. I was told to play Oxenfree because I had talked about After Party and how I played through it, but I was kind of disappointed with it. So I was told to I was told to play Oxenfree. I was told that was the better game.
I've heard good things about that. And I think there's a couple. You have to do at least 2 playthroughs or partial play. There's something with that though. But I heard nothing but good things about that game.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, my daughter played After Party. She thought it was kind of short, like you said, a little easy. But yeah, she preferred Oxenfree. She loved it.
Yeah,
but
like
I love the art style, and I love how they do the dialogue windows.
I do too. But I guess, and I think I talked about it before you. No, you were here. I don't know. It just felt like there was nothing you could do wrong in the game. You know?
Yeah.
Like it just.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Yeah, it's just one of those games where, like this past couple of days, just with everything going on, I just didn't really feel like sitting down and really getting, diving into Outer Worlds and Jedi Fallen, right? So, I was looking at games like this, the one that I picked up, downloaded from Game Pass, the Goose Game Untitled. Just a quick and easy game, just relaxing, just chill out on the couch and play it. And I played that with my daughter. So games like Oxenfree and those are games where you just relax and just play. There's not a lot really involved to, really stress you out. So, because Jedi Fallen boss battles do stress you out.
That tough, huh? Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's fun. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So I definitely recommend it.
All right. Well, hey, chat room folks, thank you again. You guys kick out the year correct. It's been a great few years here going into the next decade. We're gonna have hopefully bigger and better stuff going on. I am working on. I swear, I'm not gonna rest until Tommy Tallarico is on this show. So. We're looking to continue to grow and get better in the next decade. And I've got, I got some great people here around me to help me do it. So love you guys. It's been a great year. And, our next show will be in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can't wait.
2020. That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And plus, I'm going PAX South again.
Ah, yes.
And what was cool, I was tweeting with what's his name? He's on the Xbox Inside Show, and he said he's going to be there. And then I shared with y'all the email that I got that Rod Ferguson is going to be there. On the Friday, the first day. So I'm like, yep, I got to be there on that day. So
all right, your job, your job is to get Rod on this show.
I will try to get to meet him, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be there with my daughter and say, hey, could I get a quick 5-question interview real quick for the NLG? And I'll have my daughter record it. So
just sneak up behind him with the Lancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell my daughter, all right, I gotta put on the coalition hat on or something.
Yep. Well, just tell your daughter to give him the puppy dog eyes.
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna make her work for it. So, and I'm gonna take my 6-year-old daughter too. So I think she can help me.
There you go.
A Gears 5 shirt on her.
So, there you go. There you go.
I'll work it.
All right. I know you will. So.
Yeah.
Coop said, 2020, I feel like we've caught up to Buck Rogers.
Almost, right? Wasn't it 2025 for him?
Jill Gerard. Oh, and those satin tight pants.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But Aaron Gray in those satin tight pants, though. I mean, yeah. That was Mel Blanc that did Tweety. That
was
Tiki
really?
Rather. Yep, that was Mel Blanc. So it was Buck Rogers in the 25th century. So
Man, I remember that show. There was one episode, my favorite, about the space vampire, and he had real pointy ears. It was, that is awesome, man. Brings back memories.
Oh my goodness, that is a cool show. That was a cool show, ahead of its time. Really cool, like Battlestar Galactica, cool.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
They had the Cylons with the little red light.
Yes. 2491. So we're not there yet. We're not there yet, Chris.
We're a little short.
We're a little short.
I was like, was it 2025? No.
2491. That's an oddly random number for him to wake up on.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. It's 2 hours and 47 minutes. I am not going to 3 hours. I'm gonna get yelled at if I do. Yeah. So, John, once again, man, thank you for coming on. This is wonderful.
Oh, awesome, man! Peter, Chris, you, Mike, you guys make the show, man. I'm just sitting in, man. But this is real. I love having laughs with you guys, seeing you guys smile, and laugh about. I mean, that's worth it. The 3 hours is worth it. So,
definitely,
not quite 3 hours.
Right. As Sham goes, what the hell were you doing?
Oh, she already knows,
that's right. She remembers from the old days.
I told her. Well, she knows. She knows I love gaming, and to be honest with you, I couldn't ask. I will say this: I couldn't ask for a better wife. She games as much as me, and it's quite unique because we talk about games. We share our experiences together. She puts up with me gaming late at night, sometimes coming to bed late, I mean, I couldn't ask for a better wife. I mean,
awesome.
I agree. Same. And like, same thing with Mike and Peter. I mean, for them, our wives to allow us to do this.
Yours doesn't sometimes.
There's a couple times.
There's a couple times.
But
only because it lets her.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she loves you.
Sometimes I look at her, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe not tonight.
Yeah.
But she did buy me, for Christmas, she bought me a deal to have better lighting. So next time I'm on and have the camera on and stuff like that. So she does support.
Very nice. Very nice. That's awesome.
And again, happy birthday to your wife. Mike.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your birthday yesterday, right?
Birthday.
Yep. Yeah. She feels like it's tough because, while we don't celebrate Christmas, her family still does. So they forget it's her birthday sometimes, and and it's tough. So we have stopped going to her mother's for Christmas because she just doesn't, remember anything. So we go out. Last night we went out and had Chinese food with some friends, and then went out and saw Jumanji.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Great movie, by the way. Especially if you like the first one, it's one of the few movies that actually is better than the first one. So
yeah, really? I do want to say I was surprised that they. Yeah. Because, the other Jumanjis, they were different, completely different, right?
Yes, the Robin Williams one.
But
not good.
This one being with The Rock and Kevin Hart, I'm not surprised.
Oh, my God.
The sequel.
Oh, my. They are so good together, those two.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I mean this, and they're different in this movie than they were in the first movie, and it really is awesome. So I highly recommend it. So. And then on Saturday, my wife is forcing me to take the kids to see Star Wars. So I didn't want to go, but I didn't want to go because I'm sorry. I still wake up twice. I still wake up in a cold sweat with Leia floating across space back into the spaceship, and I'm like, go to hell. So
I feel you. I mean. I've seen it twice. The first time, here comes John. The first time it was a lot. It's going to be a lot to absorb. But when I saw it the second time, it just all.
Oh yeah.
The Force is strong with fabulous
Nice.
Force.
Nice, John. Very nice. That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
nice.
You got to have props.
Yeah.
The props make the show. You know.
You do. Yes, it does. That's why I said you have an awesome background.
Yes, you do. So while we're going to do that, my wife's going to take the youngest to see Frozen. So the movies are actually 10 minutes apart. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Mike, I didn't hear you. Did you say you didn't want to see it, or
no? I had no intention. But
oh really? Okay.
now I'm going to take the kids. I've really been this trilogy really turned me off. So I was just not this.
I feel you.
I'm an old school guy, man. I like 4, 5, and 6, the original 3 or whatever. I just it doesn't matter what they do. They can't replicate the camaraderie of those movies.
No.
They're just, I don't know. Those are classics, and the other ones don't. None of them come close. There's a couple good ones that have like some highlights in them, but
the lights in the first 3, the prequels, the lightsaber battles were great.
Oh,
and I would probably put Revenge of the Sith as probably one of the
best.
That's a good one. Yeah,
that had lightsaber battle. That had multiple excellent.
That Anakin and Obi-Wan there at the end.
Oh, that was
my
awesome.
favorite.
Killer. And I mean, even the two of them against Sidious, not Sidious.
Count Dooku.
Dooku, was really good. So I mean, they had. You're right. They had their moments, but the original trilogy will always be. Will always be special.
Right.
And when I was talking to family, I agree with you about this trilogy. This one, that throne room battle, Kylo and Rey. I really like that scene. I know how you feel about it, but I really like that battle scene in the throne room where Snoke's throne room. Other than that, this whole sequel trilogy doesn't compare to the lightsaber battles that like you said, Revenge of the Sith.
Right.
Well, I guess there's the whole thing with I mean, if Snoke was this all-knowing, all great, powerful being, how did he let himself get cut in half? That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, they missed out. I think after the original 3 movies, we went years without getting anything from Star Wars. And I believe in the books, Princess Leia, she actually went on and she actually had a white lightsaber. And there were a lot of adventures with her and Luke and different things in the canon Star Wars story. So I kind of don't like the way that they continued on with. I feel like there's a bunch of stuff that they missed or they've skipped, and it just kind of seems out of place,
Well, they tried to reinvent Star Wars to start it up over again for them, so that they say to try to kind of reorganize it. So all those books that came out after Return of Jedi, they call them legend, right? So, but to me, they made a big mistake because I've read pretty much all those books, and they set it up perfectly for the sequel to continue. I mean, if they did how Luke Skywalker turned out, how instead of repeating the past, he moved forward and brought back the Jedi Order in a great way, differently, tried not to make the same mistakes that the past Jedi Orders made. And they had great characters. People were sitting here, they want to bring Rey, you want a female lead character. Well, they had that in the books with Jaina Solo, which is a twin to Han Solo and Leia. They had all this stuff. They had all these great characters, a whole Jedi Order. You had a character named Lobaka, who's a Wookiee, and he was a Jedi. So for them to disregard the extended book series and try to reinvent Star Wars themselves, this is why this sequel trilogy that they did has so much divisiveness.
I agree with you 100%. They missed an opportunity, a golden opportunity.
They did.
and I don't mind Rey as a lead character. That's fine. I mean, Star Wars has had strong women character. Princess Leia was
I
not
don't
a
mind
slouch.
that.
But
No.
you know, to go find Luke Skywalker,
Exactly.
and then they turned Luke Skywalker into a whiny bitch. That
Right.
you know that
And Kylo too.
yeah, and Kylo. Well, I could Kylo.
Oh, how can Rey discover her powers and within 5 minutes she's besting Kylo, who's walking around with the helmet, imitating that he's like Darth Vader, infatuated with him, carrying around his destroyed mask. How can someone with that be bested by Rey, who just discovered it? Never made sense to me.
I mean, Finn picked up a lightsaber and was whipping people with it until he lasted against Kylo for a good few minutes.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
It was just bad. What I would have loved to have seen was for them to take if we putting it to a game era, take what they did in the Jedi Knight games and do that. Have Luke, as Chris was saying, have Luke bring back the Jedi Order. But in those games, Luke was training Jedi in the temple, like the Jedi.
Right.
Do that. Give us that story. And if you want to bring Rey into it as one of his students,
I
do
have no problem with
that.
that either.
Yeah, do that. This thing where she magically knows the Force. Even Anakin didn't magically know the Force.
Right.
Even though they're strong in the Force, they still needed that training.
Well, it takes years for them to develop, and Rey was actually older than most Jedi. She was kind of like Luke early on because they were a little bit older. So for her to have that to best Kylo, she didn't have the discipline yet. It didn't make any sense to me at all. No, it really didn't.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'll give you my review on this next week.
Dude, we could have a whole show on this, and one of these days I would love to have just a Star Wars show. But if we keep talking, we're gonna hit that 3-hour tour.
That's what I'm trying to force.
Well, we did. We're at 3:02, so we got it, John. We got it, John. Yeah. So let's not go to 1 a.m.
Strong with the original
Peter
trilogy.
looks like he's ready to kill.
I'm gonna force choke you guys. Shut up.
Right. It's fun. What we could do is we could do that Star Wars show. John could come back, and we could also talk about all the great Star Wars games that are out there.
Yes. Yeah, that'll be a good one.
All right. Hold on. Let me write this down. Let me.
I could get off in Pod Racer on my Nintendo 64.
Oh, that was a good one. All right. Hold on. Star Wars show. All right. I got it. We'll figure it out.
Yep.
We'll figure it out. Sometime in January, maybe.
All right.
So,
yeah, that'd be a good one.
All right. Well, with that, I think it's time to go. So,
thanks, Coop. Coop's the guy. Coop's the troop.
Yeah, man. He's probably the only one left in the room. He's the only one that's been typing. So,
Rogue Squadron. Ugh.
All right, we'll get into all that. So, all right. Being that this is the last one of the decade, so Peter, do you have a special outro for us?
No, I don't. Just game on. See how much more gaming we can get in.
The end of the show, please.
Yes, let's get the hell out of here. All right, everybody. Yeah, I know you've been listening, Jeff. We love you, brother. All right. Thank you guys in the chat room. Thank you guys down with me. It's been great. What a great night. What a great, awesome. So we will see you guys in the year 2020. Everybody who, I hope you had a wonderful, hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas. Those of us who are still celebrating Hanukkah, happy 5th night of Hanukkah. And hopefully the rest of your weekend, we go till Sunday. So, actually Monday night. So hope the rest of your goes well. And Happy New Year, everyone. Hope you guys have gotten everything you want. So I know I'm happy. Tonight made me really happy.
Me too.
Yes.
So see you guys later, and play on, gamers.
Game on, guys.
Game on, everybody. Happy New Year's.